stopping it from going into oncoming traffic. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Divers rescued a man from the White River Thursday evening. IFD search and rescue experts say that a boat capsized, sending the man into the river at a point near the intersection of White River Parkway East Drive and Birdsall Parkway. The man was underwater for nearly an hour, but was rescued alive. He's critical at the hospital. Team Penske IndyCar driver Scott McLaughlin is looking to make it back-to-back wins Saturday after his win at Barber 2 weeks ago. Practice and qualifying are today on the IMS road course for the GMR Grand Prix.
Good way to start the month. I feel like it's just, if we have a bit of, I feel like it's always a mixed bag race as well. It looks like it might rain, might not. It's always pretty exciting. So, hopefully we put on a good show.
Showers likely both today and for race day tomorrow. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
Yeah, Kurt, over on the east side, northbound 465. A little bit slow right now around the east of 56th Street. Outside of that, interstates are looking really good right now. Everything through the airport, no sweat. Westbound 70 from the south, split out to the airport collector with Ronald Reagan at Ameriplex. Traffic sponsored by Trade Heating and Cooling. Trade Heating and Cooling systems are engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit tradeinfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
The internet can be an all-you-can-eat buffet for identity thieves.
So full.
Too many maiden names.
And social security numbers.
Where'd you find those?
By the password bar. Can't miss them.
LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss by monitoring your credit and bank statements. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
Imagine the possibilities of getting the backyard of your dreams. Expand your living space with an Indie Decorative Concrete patio. Indie Decorative Concrete, the patio experts, changing the way Indie thinks about concrete.
WIBC News Time 9:05. Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy, humid, and a few scattered showers and storms possible. Highs into the mid-70s today. Mostly cloudy skies, a spotty shower overnight, a low of 64. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
It's 70 degrees and partly cloudy on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, May 12th. It is 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Congratulations. Give yourself a big old pat on the back. You made it to Friday, and the sun is shining across central Indiana. A glorious day we will have. However, we are starting the show talking about the Duke of Spendingburg. He is being quite vocal. He is not endorsing Donald Trump as the Republican nominee for 2024. What is that? Is that a disendorsement, an unendorsement, an anti-endorsement? What do you call that?
Well, if I were running for public office, I can't think of anyone I would rather have endorse against me,
disendorse you,
than Todd Young. So, yes, the Duke of Spendingburg. You may, for those who are new to the program, may not know, we call him the Duke of Spendingburg because he is the highest spending Republican in the United States Senate and has defeated many Democrats also in the process, including Bernie Sanders. So thus we have dubbed him the Duke of Spendingburg. So Todd Young comes out yesterday, Spendingburg, whatever we're calling him these days, and he makes this big announcement that he will not support Donald Trump in 2024, which that's fine in a primary. Clearly, we have already staked our lot to another gentleman caller, Ron DeSantis, and that's fine. Everybody can have their favorites, right? But I think there were some things that stood out to this, on this to me. Number one is the reason that he gave.
Yep, he was asked why, and his answer was, where do I begin?
Yes, and then he proceeds to go into this long... Casey, the Republicans in the United States Senate have some very disturbing fetish with Ukraine. Like, I don't know when the blinds are shut if Todd Young dresses up like Zelensky. I don't know what he does, but and look, Todd Young always does, and we've said this many, many times. Todd Young will always do what his adult supervision, Mitch McConnell, tells him to do. When they walk into the State House every day, or the U.S. Capitol every day holding hands, and he asks him, Daddy, what are we voting on today, and how do we vote? And Mitch McConnell made it very clear when he chopped the legs off from the House Republicans in December, when he passed that spending agreement, and Todd voted for that Ukraine was the most important thing to the Republicans. Not you being able to buy food, not you being able to afford gas, not the southern border, not national security. Ukraine was far more important to the United States Senate Republicans than you, a law-abiding, tax-paying American. And Todd Young has said this again because he has come out and made this announcement because he's mad about Trump's answer on Ukraine at the CNN town hall.
Yep, he said, I think President Trump's judgment is wrong in this case. Russian President Vladimir Putin and his government have been engaged in war crimes. That's why I don't intend to support him for the Republican nomination. It all came down to Ukraine for him.
Now, look, I assume you, I think you, and I know Kev, and so I'll just say all three of us. All three of us are out on the blame for this guy because we want no part of him. We know what he is. Todd Young is a piece of trash. He's a guy who didn't get the signatures to get on the ballot. The only reason he became a U.S. Senator was because Susan Brooks' husband was his attorney, and he may or may not have had a donor on the election board that said it doesn't matter, you don't have to follow the rules. This guy was the hand-chosen person. He was funded fully by Mitch McConnell. I have known what Todd Young is and have talked about what Todd Young is for about 6 years now on this radio station. But the people who have supported him repeatedly and put him back in office. We told you what he would be if you reelected him. And so many people said, nuh-uh, we'll hold him accountable this time. Well, it doesn't appear that there's any sort of accountable holding because he's stabbing conservatives back, left and right in the back at a new level even than before he was reelected.
Okay, so Young is only one of 4 Senate GOP incumbents that Trump did not endorse for reelection. So this is going both ways. They just don't like each other at this point. That's what it seems like.
Well, and don't forget, now Todd Young, and we were, again, telling anybody who would listen at the time, when Todd Young was first running for U.S. Senate, he went on some special little powwow retreat down to, I believe it was Florida, and met with a bunch of mega money people who were wholly invested in trying to stop Trump from getting the nomination. So Todd Young has been a never Trumper since the very beginning. So this is nothing new. And again, everybody's able to have their favorites. It's no problem. It's the bizarro Ukraine above Americans fetish that the Senate Republicans have that is deeply, deeply disturbing.
Okay, so Mike Braun, where does he stand? Well, he was asked the same question about Trump, and he said, it's not that difficult. I think when it comes to the candidate that can portray what was working so well pre-COVID, we know who that was. It was President Trump. So it sounds like Braun will be endorsing Trump, whereas Young, not.
Here's the other part, and I think this is the most disturbing thing of the Duke of Spendingburg's little tough guy presentation yesterday. We have said, look, we like Ron DeSantis. Maybe he'll run for president. Maybe he won't. But we have said whoever the Republican nominee is, short of it being Liz Cheney, we will vote for an orange peel. And an orange peel would be better than Liz Cheney. We will vote for an orange peel over Joe Biden.
My shoe is better than Joe Biden.
Because every single person who actually cares about this country and not just doing what their adult supervision / daddy in the Senate tells them to do, a la Todd Young, has a vested interest in getting Joe Biden out of office because this country cannot sustain 4 more years of the Biden administration. So any person who remotely cares about this country at all, if they're asked, would you support Donald Trump if he's the nominee? Yes, I would support a burrito from Taco Bell if he were the nominee over Joe Biden. And Todd Young would not answer that question yesterday.
You know, what's interesting is you say 4 more years, and Joe Biden was trolling Trump after his CNN town hall meeting. And Joe Biden said, it's simple, folks. Do you want 4 more years of that? If you don't pitch into our campaign.
Todd Young is proving what we have said for a very, very long time. And I hope someday Todd will have the courage to come on the show. We don't need any big burly sheriff's deputies with hands on their firearms like at the Stacks Pancake House. We don't need Igor, the evil, awful assistant, strong-arming people into not videotaping Todd. We don't need Todd moving aggressively towards me when he had the big burly deputy behind him. Just me and Todd Spendingberg, just us and our little bitty audience here. We can sit down and we can talk about some of these things. Because Todd Young repeatedly proves what we say on this show every single day. There is no difference between the Republicans and Democrats. Todd Young is not upset that what the Democrats are doing to this country. He's just upset that he's not in charge to enrich his donor and lobbyist friends. That's what this is about. The fact that you will not commit to supporting whoever, it's going to be Trump or DeSantis. It's going to be one of these two people. Whoever the Republican nominee is tells you everything you need to know about who Todd Young is as a politician, about who he is as an elected official, and about who he is as a human being. He does not care about this country if you will not commit to supporting anyone against Joe Biden.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And how did Trump do during that CNN Republican presidential town hall? Well, he brought in 3.3 million viewers, and that was enough for the network to beat all of its cable rivals in that time slot in prime time, at least for that night. So let's see. CNN beat MSNBC. They also beat Fox News. So what does that mean? Okay, well, it's 4 times more the average number reached in that demo during that typical 8 p.m. program.
English, Casey. You're reading. You have to speak in English to people. What that means.
They did 4 times better.
Okay, very good.
Than Anderson Cooper normally does.
There we go. Perfect. That's what people need to know. And they beat Fox by about 2.5 times. They had about 2.5 times the amount of viewers. Obviously, Fox in a free fall without Tucker. But even the reduced audience of Fox still markedly, it's clear people left Fox to go watch this thing. Now, what is interesting, they did about 3.3-ish million viewers. Depends on kind of what you, if you put the live streaming in, it's about 3.41 according to CNN. However, this is markedly smaller than the town hall television audience he was getting in 2020.
Previous ones. Yeah. So CNN and the country might be better served if Trump took that time slot. Give Trump the show. Become the elder statesman. He can do a daily broadcast.
About 5-ish million in 2020. Now, again, every town hall is a little different. Some there might have been a little more. Some there might have been a little less. But I think it was Fox News who pointed out, hey, we had this guy on in 2020, and they did. They only did about we did about 5.1 million viewers. So you're off, what is that, 20-ish percent, roughly 25%. So clearly some interest, but not, and we talked about this yesterday, that the Trump thing, it's like a TV show. You've kind of seen it. Are you still going to watch your favorite show after 7 years? Yes. Is there the same enthusiasm? Usually no. And I think that's kind of where you are with Trump.
Yeah, there's some attrition going on. Okay, so coming up later in the hour, we have the Noblesville mayor, Chris Jensen. He's going to join us, talk about the new stadium that's being built there.
Give me that monstrosity they're building out there in Noblesville.
And you're going to put it to him. We'll see what he has to say coming up. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The month of May is filled with traditions. Poll day, carb day, bump day.
Appears to be solidly in the show.
But first, a tradition filled with twists and turns. This weekend, the green flag drops on the GMR Grand Prix as Colton Herta defends his title.
Colton Herta wins the GMR Grand Prix.
Follow the action tomorrow at 3 on 93 WIBC.
It's prime home selling season. Right now, home buyers are actively looking. With mortgage rates moving lower, now is the ideal time to get your home sold for maximum dollar. Make the smart choice. Hire the agent I recommend, Mark Deedle. Perhaps you're worried about selling for less money with a low ball instant offer. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Tom and Carol in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietel. We needed to sell my parents' house quickly to move them to a place that could care for them better. We heard about Mark Dietel on the radio. We hired him, and he is exactly as advertised. After multiple offers, the home was under contract in days. Multiple. A challenging time was easier thanks to Mark Dietel. Call the agent I trust and recommend for the details. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
It's the first day of the first grade and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Have you noticed that most ice creams now come in smaller cartons? Not Bluebell. We're still making a full half-gallon and a full pint of tasty goodness. Bluebell wouldn't have it any other way.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at Needler's Fresh Market and Walgreens.
Visit Damon's Lawn and Garden at 4914 Rockville Road for endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, and spectacular hanging baskets. Plus garden and landscape supplies. The knowledgeable staff is ready to assist you. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Damon's West and visit their website at dammons.com. That's dammons.com.
Damon's Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden centers.
Do you love cars, trucks, and motorcycles? Don't miss one of Indy's biggest car shows, the Horsepower for Heroes Car, Truck, and Motorcycle Show on Saturday, May 20th from 10 to 3 at Don Hines Ford in Fishers. Come see race cars and show cars. Plus, an Indy racing experience, ride, and more with all proceeds donated to Warrior Breed MC to help military veterans, those who sacrificed for our freedom. Admission to Horsepower for Heroes is free. Don Hines Ford on Saturday, May 20th.
Hey, who's winning? What? Who's winning? Somebody spinning?
Race fans know the track is loud. For the hard of hearing, this confusion happens every day on the telephone. RelayIndiana.com can help. RelayIndiana.com is a free service that provides telephone access to the hard of hearing, so users have normal phone conversations through relay operators. Relay Indiana also provides free equipment to those who qualify. Enjoy the race and phone conversations. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
With a low fixed rate on Lake City Bank's home equity line of credit, you can use money for expenses now or when you need it later. Learn more at lakecitybank.com. Call 888-522-2265 or visit a branch near you. Subject to credit approval and equal housing lender.
Got an emergency on the weekend? We're here for you at B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains.
Just go to bplusw.com. B&W is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
Sherman? Forget it, he's rolling.
22 minutes after 9, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Did you know that it's Teacher Appreciation Week?
Did you know I once saw the Rolling Stones at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway from the 5th row?
I've heard this story.
I was as close to you and me as it was me and Mick Jagger.
Could you see up his nose?
Oh,
Did you know what flavor gum he was chewing?
He was sweating on you and everything.
Moving, he was dancing. I about died of heat exhaustion, but gosh darn it, Casey, it was totally worth it.
So Indiana Rep. Rudy Yakum is giving his wife a shout out for Teacher Appreciation Week. She is a teacher, and he says, thanks for all you do to educate and enrich the lives of the next generation.
Hey Hoosiers, Congressman Rudy Yakum here. I'm coming to you from my DC office, actually away from my family, and wanted to give a shout out to my wife, Sally Ann, who's a third grade school teacher back home in Indiana, as well as all Hoosier teachers for the work that you do during this Teacher Appreciation Week, but really year round, educating the next generation of students. Our country wouldn't be what it is today without the teachers who take the time and invest in the next generation. So thanks for the work that you do. We appreciate you.
I like how he said that he was from his DC office, letting you know that he's working. He's working very hard.
Here's the question I have, Casey.
Yeah.
There's always an appreciation for this, an appreciation for that. When is the Taxpayer Appreciation Week? Because, and look, there are many fine teachers, and God bless you if you're a person who actually cares about educating kids rather than indoctrinating them. But none of the stuff exists without the taxpayer. Like the buildings they teach in, the gyms the kids play in, the salaries that people take home. And look, it's teacher whatever, so we're talking about teachers. When is the Taxpayer Appreciation Week? I notice Rudy never cuts a video thanking the taxpayers for the trillions of dollars we send in for him and his Republican friends in the Treasury to plow through every single year. When is the video for the taxpayers?
That could be a new holiday. I like it. Memorial Day, 4th of July, Taxpayer Day. Also trending this morning is Net Lodge X. They were named as one of the best places to work in the entire state of Indiana from the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. They were doing a big awards dinner the other day, and NetLogix was named number 1. And finally, here's Kamala Harris. She's making a very weird coconut tree reference. I have no idea what she's talking about. It seems like a real-life episode of The Office. So cringy.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
When your audience doesn't laugh and you laugh.
Read
the room.
There's an episode of Family Guy where Peter Griffin is running for, I think it's school board. And he says famously, you take the good, you take the bad, you take the rest, and there you have my opening statement. Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
Right.
That's about the level on a daily basis we get from this woman.
She sounds drunk. Meanwhile, keep in mind, this is the woman who is in charge of the southern border. She is the czar.
All right. When we come back, Casey, look, we have to give credit. There is nothing we enjoy more than when we rip on a politician that he immediately raises his hand and says, I would like to address said issue for which you were ripping, and I will gladly come on your show. And we think that is a prime example of how the politician should behave. And, well, we have been very critical of that big monstrosity that they're about to use $36.5 million on in Noblesville to help the very rich Indiana Pacers have essentially a very discounted, if not pretty much outright free stadium. And the mayor of Noblesville, Chris Jensen, said, I would like to come on and discuss why you people are totally wrong on this.
He says Rob Kendall is wrong, and we're going to hear about it next on 93 WIBC.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword info 42 to 866-482-9559. That's info 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Edwards Equipment in Danville, one of America's first Kubota dealers, is celebrating 50 years in business, and customers are the winner. From your lawn to the farm, family-owned Edwards Equipment in Danville has the experience and Kubota products to improve your outdoor living. May 13th is Edwards Customer Appreciation Event. Lunch is provided, and the WIBC Home and Garden Show will be broadcasting on-site. Stop by and test drive your new piece of Kubota equipment. Special financing will be available. Celebrating 50 years in business, Edwards Equipment in Danville.
That's Faber's Bean Window. Trust me.
Are you thinking about your next home improvement project, but you need more than a window replacement? Whether it's siding, entry doors, or maybe a bath or shower remodel, design it before you buy it. That's right. B's using the latest in technology to create an architectural design so you can see our products on your house before you purchase. For a limited time, receive 50% off all products, plus special manufacturer rebates and 20 months no interest, no payments.
Trust me.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Discussing end-of-life matters can be uncomfortable, but it's also necessary to ensure that loved ones' wishes are well known ahead of time. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. Up next, I'll share suggestions to help ease anxiety surrounding the talk.
Why Adult Day Services? Because no matter how much you love someone, there are times when you need a break and someone to help. Let Joy's House be that someone for you.
Direct, open, and honest conversation is the best way to discuss end-of-life wishes. Knowing your loved one's preferred treatments and desired arrangements will ready everyone for when the time comes. Also helpful, creating a will or trust to ensure assets are distributed accordingly. And consider an end-of-life doula to assist your family during the process. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's done. 71 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling for Stockyards Bank. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Title 42 is expired. The COVID-era policy was lifted just before midnight last night. It had allowed for migrants to be quickly turned back at the U.S. southern border, while U.S. border communities are getting the initial surge. Experts say that in cities thousands of miles away, they're expecting to be overwhelmed as well. More talks between congressional leaders and President Biden over the debt ceiling today. Fox's Jared Halpern.
For the second time this week, the big four congressional leaders were going to meet here with President Biden, but that meeting was abruptly pushed to next week as staff-level negotiations continue through the weekend.
I don't think there's enough progress for the leaders to get back together. I don't know having certain ones in the room that's even productive.
Still, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says talks have not broken down as a deadline to raise the debt limit could hit as soon as June 1st. Leaders in the House and Senate may also need to scrap a Memorial Day recess. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Practice getting going right now at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the GMR Grand Prix. Qualifying later this afternoon, race day tomorrow at 3:30. And now the stock report. We're in the green to start the day. The Dow is up 111 to 33,482. The Nasdaq up 23 to 13,469. And the S&P 500 is up 12 to 4,156. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
What would you do with a little extra cash? Quick getaway, organic fruits and veggies, mini shopping spree? It's all possible with Stockyards Bank Extreme Checking. Earn 4% annual percentage yield on balances from $1 to $10,000 by doing things you already do every day. Just swipe your debit card at least 10 times a month on purchases of at least $5, set up a direct deposit, and enroll in e-statements. Splurging is easier with Stockyards Bank. So what would you do with a little extra? Visit syb.com/extreme to learn more today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Rock of Ages lift me somehow, somewhere
WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Casey, we have a very special guest in our studio.
Mayor.
That's the nicest thing I've been called this morning.
You know, we love it, Casey, when we are critical of a government official in some capacity, and he says, I'll see you tomorrow. We love that. The mayor of Noblesville, Chris Jensen, joins us now. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
You should have this job.
Oh, I don't know, man. You do a pretty good job at it.
You know, usually with politicians, we've got to be like, speak up.
So the secret to that, after college, I was a cruise director for 6 months.
Oh.
That was my little, it's been so long ago, I forget about it, but that was really good vocal training.
You were like Julie on Love Boat.
Absolutely Love Boat.
Are you being serious?
I'm dead serious, yeah. I went to Butler, was from Noblesville. I felt like I needed to get away and do something crazy. It's
great.
It was wonderful.
Hey, did you see that the Butler Bulldog graduated this year?
Really?
Yeah, they're going to have to get a new one.
Oh, really? Well, that would be, so I was there when they had the original Butler Blue back in the day. So this should be number 4, I believe, of Bulldogs.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great mascot. Great school.
All right, so we love that you're here. We love when the politicians own what they're doing, and you're here today. We think you're clinically insane for giving the Pacers $36.5 million for a stadium. Well, it's a G League team. In fairness, it's not the Pacers. The Mad Ants is what they're called now. City of Noblesville striking a big deal to provide a stadium for that team. You think we are dead wrong in saying you're clinically insane. Why is this great for Noblesville?
I think you just classified it wrong. We didn't give the Pacers $36.5 million. We're investing in a $36.5 million arena for the city of Noblesville. We will own it. The Pacers will be renting it 40 days out of the year to spur economic growth on our east side. We will then program that over 300 days as part of our long-term entertainment and sports strategy. So this is not the Pacers arena. This is the city of Noblesville arena that they are renting for $1 million a year for 40 days of usage.
Okay, how long though? Is it a 10-year contract?
It's a 10-year contract with eligible for renewal. Which is we felt pretty comfortable with that. 10 years is a decent amount of time. My goal is after year 8 that it makes perfect sense that they re-up. But worst case scenario, we own the asset. We'll program it. Actually, a private operator will program that, because I do believe that I am a small government conservative. Rob and I can talk about that in a minute.
Oh,
zing.
You're not going to pull that out here. No, go ahead.
So we will continue programming and hopefully re-up with them for another 10 years and keep going because it's so successful.
All right, so I did a little math. I'm but a product of the public education system, and you've got 71,000-ish residents in Noblesville.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So that's like $514 a person for the cost of this, if my public school math and my handy-dandy cellular telephone calculator is correct. And what do you say to the person who says, wow, $514, I'm not going to be going to the ball games. I'd much rather have that money go to my sidewalks or my bridges or my streets?
Well, first of all, you got to back that math out a little bit more, because it's bonded over 23 years. So it's paid off over 23 years. Year 1, we're estimating a $20 to $30 million economic impact for the city of Noblesville in year 1 of this project.
How do you do that? How do you say that, well, this is what it's going to generate? I mean, they were saying the attendance at the games, the paid attendance, somewhere around, a lot of them, 1,400-ish people. How do you come up with that number?
Our goal, the plan is to max this out and have about 65,000 new people visit Noblesville every single year just for Pacers game, just for those 40 days. So I think that's where the math comes in. Again, you have it over 300 days throughout the year that are going to be programmed for other events like IHSAA events, for volleyball events, for pickleball tournaments, for graduations. The list goes on. We're partnering with Live Nation down the street to look at some concert opportunities there. So this is really playing the long game. This is funded through TIF, so it's coming out of a TIF bond. So again, I understand the perspective that you're bringing. I just think that it's a flawed perspective, and I think it's one that needs to be looked at long term in terms of the economic impact for the city.
Okay, let's talk about when the stadium will be finished. 24, 25?
Yeah, so their goal is to break ground this fall. They'll be in at some point in time to the 24-25 season.
And where's it going to be located?
So the goal is on Finch Creek, which is a city-owned park, 200 acres off of Bowden Road, just up the street from Ruoff, or Clips, Verizon, Deer Creek is what it ultimately should be called. They're the music center about a half mile up the road from that.
Now, are you going to subsidize some of this cost with some naming rights? And do you have anybody in the pipe?
So the Pacers are actually responsible for that. They're going to be seeking the naming rights of that field. That was part of the agreement. They will bring the naming rights to that. So our goal is, again, to have as much private partners in this as possible, that it is a very minimal burden on the taxpayer in Noblesville.
Chris Jensen, the mayor of Noblesville, our guest. We're talking about the big stadium being built in Noblesville. Okay, so are you and the Noblesville City Council just the world's most brilliant people? If this is such a great idea, why did Fort Wayne, where the Mad Ants play now, why did they let them get away? Why weren't your fellow competitors in Central Indiana doing something similar?
I can't speak for Fort Wayne. You'd have to ask them about that. This is a business decision the Pacers have made to relocate their franchise in and around their current NBA franchise. That is what drove that business decision. And I think some of our other neighbors to the east, west, south, and all around would have loved the opportunity. The Pacers approached us. It's part of a broader strategy in Central Indiana to grow the sports culture, and we're honored to be a part of it. And I'm proud that Noblesville was positioned to capitalize on this opportunity.
Okay, so the Mad Ants have been playing at the War Memorial Coliseum in Fort Wayne. So what, now it's going to sit empty? Do you feel bad for Fort Wayne?
Well, certainly I doubt any good strategy would leave that Coliseum empty. I certainly believe it was probably a bittersweet day for Fort Wayne. I went on Fort Wayne TV that day, and I knew those questions would come. But much like I'm not a resident of Fort Wayne, but I've been to many Tin Caps games. I would invite anyone from Fort Wayne to come down and enjoy the team down here. But I'm not going to deny that I'm sure it was a bittersweet day.
Now, this is going to be the second team that's going to be in Hamilton County. You also have the Indy Fuel playing. Competition, how many?
So this arena is about half the size of what is being built for the Indy Fuel in Fishers. It's done intentionally that way. The Hamilton County Tourism is kind of calling out this size of stadium that we're building, 3,500 people, as a really needed size arena in Hamilton County. So it's part of a larger strategy around tourism in Hamilton County and Central Indiana as a whole.
Again, the mayor of Noblesville, Chris Jensen, our guest. And see, Casey, see what a fine job the mayor's doing. I still think he's completely nuts, but he's not being held against his will. He's free to come and go as he pleased. He went and was entered in with the greeting and a handshake. Why don't more politicians come on this show and do like you're doing now? You're doing fine holding your own. You're totally wrong, but you're holding your own.
If I can comment, I think one of the breakdowns for society right now is that we're not willing to go on and talk to people that maybe we don't agree with or see differently. We have to be better about that going forward. I'm never afraid. You're humans. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. I'm honored to be here, and more people should do it.
Okay, so what do you say to the folks who say, wow, my property taxes are through the roof. It's record highs. I'm struggling to pay my mortgage. I am looking for help. No, and the state is not helping me. And then I got my local government building, I think we all agree, hey, roads, bridges, sidewalks, the police, the fire department, that's all fine use of tax money. But now we're building big stadiums, and what do you say to the people who are struggling to pay the mortgage?
Rob, you're a former local elected official as well. You know that this is the form of this is the system that's been put in place for property tax assessment, and it's a flawed system. And I think we're all trying to work from the legislature down to county government. We're working with our township government. All of us are looking at ways to give property tax relief to work. And from my seat, we're investing in long-term assets to diversify our economy, to grow our economic base, to keep our taxes at a consistent level going forward. And again, this is being built using funds that are not coming from single-family property tax revenue. So I respect them. I understand. I hear it too. And we're working every day to make it better for folks in Noblesville and Hamilton County and hopefully the state.
All right. You touched on it just a little bit, but keep going. What is the future of Noblesville in your opinion?
So I think, Noblesville will be the largest city in Hamilton County. We are on track to probably double our population in the next 20, 25 years. We'll be probably in the top. We're the 9th largest city now. We'll be probably in the top 10 in the state. We're the second fastest growing community. I think you're going to have a city for everybody. You have a historic downtown with the White River flowing through it. You have a entertainment and sports corridor on the east side. You have Morris Reservoir. You have high-tech, innovative companies. You have advanced manufacturing. You have something for everybody. I think we'll be a leader in Central Indiana and certainly even the state.
All right, before we go, you have endorsed Suzanne Crouch.
I have.
I got a big press release in my inbox, so I assume you want people to know that.
Sure.
Okay, can we go there? Can we talk about that?
Sure, absolutely.
For a moment?
Proud to do it.
All right, so, you are a professed conservative, which I have no reason to doubt. You seem like an honest man who could pass a lie detector test. She has been the right-hand woman of Eric Holcomb. No objections during the mask mandates, the shutdowns, the business closures, the tax increases, the Malik Muhammad VIP meet and greet. How do you square as a conservative endorsing a person who has been the right-hand person of Eric Holcomb?
I see Suzanne Crouch as someone who's been a former county chair, a county official, a county commissioner, a state representative, state auditor, and now lieutenant governor. There's nobody better qualified. She has been a lifelong conservative. She is an absolute Hoosier conservative. And, we don't always agree on everything everyone that we are around, do. But I believe Suzanne Crouch is best positioned with a policy for the future of Indiana that I believe in, and I'm proud to endorse her.
What is that? I mean, which one of those things did I lay out? Do we object to any of the things I just said? That the Malik Muhammad meet and greet, we know that happened. The shutdown of society, the tax increases. What in that is like, oh yeah, she's very conservative.
I am focused on what she can provide the future of the state of Indiana, and I respect your opinions on different policies that the state has done in the past, and I'm sure she has varying opinions on some of that as well. But I'm focused on what she can do for the future of Indiana, and I believe in that.
Okay, well, if I still have a job here in 10 years, we're going to bring you back.
All right.
And we're going to evaluate the stadium. And look, I don't live there, so I don't have to pay it. But I hope it works out for you, man. I really do. And by the way, we give you huge credit for coming in here, and we hope it is more proof, just like with Becky Cash last week, that we can all get along.
Well, hopefully I don't have to wait 10 years to come back in here.
No, you're welcome anytime. And we just want you to do cruise announcements.
Chris, do you have any aspirations for higher office?
I have the best job in the world, so I'm going to focus on what I'm doing. I've obviously signed up for 4 more years, and we're going to go from there. I have 4 young kids at home who don't care that I'm the mayor of Noblesville. They're not impressed with what I do every single day. My wife doesn't either. So I'm going to focus on doing what I'm doing and growing my hometown.
Chris Jensen, the mayor of Noblesville, thank you, my friend, and good luck with your monstrosity.
Thanks, guys.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, we don't have a deal on the debt limit, which is fine because we don't have a border, it turns out, either. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, good morning. It's Casey. I'd like to share a review with you about Galaxy Concrete Coating. Glenn said, excellent company and great product. I recently had their coating installed on my patio and front entry steps. They made sure I got the best deal. From start to finish, they communicated very well. It changed the whole look of my home, and I would recommend them to anyone. Call them today in Fishers, 317-751-9070. It's not as expensive as you might think for indoor and outdoor concrete. It's Galaxy Concrete Coatings.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for ZeroRez, and it's that time of year when our homes just need a good spring cleaning to get the winter crud out of the carpets, floors, and upholstery. You've changed your furnace filters, but have you cleaned the carpets? The carpets are literally the largest air filter in your home, and if you really want to help eliminate dust and allergens and irritants that'll drive your allergies crazy, how about getting them ZeroRez cleaned? Right now, ZeroRez will clean 3 rooms of carpet for only $149, and they'll give you a free hallway cleaning too. That'll give your home a real fresh beginning as you go full steam into the spring allergy season. ZeroRez uses their unique cleaning technology with electrolyzed ZR water to perfectly clean your floors and more. It cleans your carpets and floors without soapy residue. Soapy residues means things get dirtier quicker, and ZR water absolutely prevents that from happening. Call ZeroRez today and mention WIBC. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $149, and they'll give you a free hallway cleaning too. For a smarter, lasting clean and really easy scheduling, call 388-5141 or visit ZeroRezIndy.com.
Newsmax is conducting an urgent poll asking if it was right for Fox News to fire Tucker. Do you want Tucker back on TV? Let us know what you think. Vote in the Newsmax poll. Just text us now. Text the word RESPOND to 39747. That's RESPOND to 39747. Let your voice be heard. Text RESPOND to 39747. Millions made the switch to Newsmax. You can too. Texting enrolls for automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
Good morning. It is 9:47. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So what's going on at the border? A lot. Title 42 expired at midnight. In its place, Title 8.
You remember Title 8, right,
yeah,
Casey?
Sure.
You remember Title 8?
Of course I do. Alejandro Mayorkas said that it would carry more severe consequences for migrants. Title 8 would. Would you like to know what the severe consequences are?
Sure, yes, absolutely.
So
please.
under Title 42, it took them about half an hour to go through the processing. With Title 8, it's going to take an hour.
Oh, well, yes, that seems like a very...
30 more minutes.
Very government thing. Of course, there have been 6.3 million, well, more than that probably now, but the last update was 6.3 million illegal immigrants crossing the border since Biden became president. And they have taken one of the remaining tools they had in the toolbox out with Title 42 now expiring. Of course, there is now a cavalcade of illegal immigrants trying to pour across the southern border. Many of them will do so quite effectively. And that is what the Democrats want, because that is a reliable generation of likely Democrat voters dependent upon government services. And of course, the Republicans aren't doing anything to stop them because, well, Republicans are invested in cheap labor for their big business donors. So, as usual, Casey, everyone in Washington is working against the American people.
Have you seen the videos, the people lined up, the people crossing the Rio Grande? Many people are wondering if Biden is working with the coyotes, not the Mexican government, but the coyotes down there. And it seems like it's possible.
So Trump went on his Truth social media website, and he had some commentary on Biden and the border.
Final remnants of Title 42. Joe Biden has officially abolished what remained of America's borders and turned the United States into a dumping ground for illegal aliens from all over the world. We've become a third world nation. At this very moment, illegal aliens are lined up by the tens of thousands, ready to break into our country, knowing that even if they are caught, Joe Biden will order them immediately released into American communities. And many of these people are very dangerous. Under Biden, our border is gone, our sovereignty is gone. Our national security is gone, and we are quickly becoming that third world nation that I've been talking about for so long. It's happening to us, if you can believe that. The United States of America is now a third world nation. On day one of my new administration, I will end this travesty and restore the sovereign borders of the United States of America.
And he went on and on and on and on, and it's a shame that because he's spot on this, and I think the border is somewhere that he could gain traction, but like, you know, we've talked about the last couple of days, it just gets all put up in the wash with him that I think people who don't like him are just going to tune him out, but he's absolutely right. I mean, the border is a joke. It's a crisis. It's a travesty. I mean, you are totally reshaping this country and what America is, and your government is actively working against you.
Okay, so one thing that the House GOP did do was they passed the Secure the Border Act, and this is to rebuild the wall, deploy tech. What are they going to send drones down there so we can watch everybody coming in? Wow. Require transparency on illegal crossings. They hope to end catch and release and also strengthen the asylum process, which means, you know, adding that half hour to the process.
Strengthening. That's what we call it, strengthening.
Strengthening it, yes.
Hey, Kev, when you go to the BMV and it takes you forever to get through, they're strengthening the process for you. Did you know that? That's what it is. It's not government incompetence. They're strengthening the process.
And they're making you a stronger person.
That's right. Hey, we were going to play this clip of Mayorkas, but I decided that I would not subject our audience to this. Some breaking news.
Yeah.
A very sad news.
What's that?
Well, I guess sad is what would be the exact opposite of sad?
Happy.
Well, I guess it would be happy, except for the person who's going to replace her was also involved in the bad doings in question. Our old friend, Dr. Box, gynecologist, the state health commissioner, she has announced that, I guess, putting over 1 million people out of work, closing down tens of thousands of businesses, trying to put you in jail for not wearing a mask, being the architects of all of those things. She's ready to walk off into the sunset and call it a career. Dr. Box, gynecologist. She's retiring.
She's going to hang up the stethoscope. Does she say why?
I have not seen that yet. I just saw it reported. Nikki Kelly over at the Capitol Chronicle. You may remember, Casey, Dr. Box. Now, I don't know if you were here yet, but we had a little breaking news last year when Dr. Box, gynecologist, she went on statewide television and was still finger wagging at people about wearing a mask. And of course, we all know now the mask didn't work and didn't help anything. But she was on there lecturing. And again, you know, when I think of people who I would want to oversee a pandemic, a gynecologist would certainly come, not to in any way demean the great work that gynecologists across the fruited plain do. I just don't know. I thought there were usually, what do they call them? Epidemiologists. Aren't those the people who usually understand the pandemics and viruses and things of that nature? But Holcomb, in a very bold move, did go with Dr. Box, gynecologist, as the state health commissioner during the pandemic. And you may remember she was finger wagging at people about not wearing their mask. And then, in a little birdie, just one day, just on my front doorstep, dropped off a manila envelope full of photos. And one of those was Dr. Box at her kid's very highly attended wedding, not wearing a mask.
Not wearing a mask. Oh, not following her own rules. So do we know who the new state health commissioner is going to be?
We sure do, Casey. And it's, remember in The Godfather where it's like the new Godfather, Al Pacino, was even more vicious than the original Godfather, Marlon Brando. I think this may be what we're in store for here, because old Lindsay Weaver, who you may remember her from all the various Holcomb press conferences, sitting in the background, nodding approvingly. She was just short of a pennant and a foam finger from being the number one fan of the Holcomb shutdowns and lockdowns. She is now going to be the new health commissioner.
Is this effective immediately? Do we have a 2-week notice? When does this take place?
Still some breaking news here, so we'll try to get to the bottom of that, and we'll let you know if we know. I would assume it's May 31st. There we go. Yes, May 31st.
Okay, so the end of the month we have a new change.
I'd like to thank Dr. Box, gynecologist, for all the colossal amount of damage that she did to our state. No, thank is not the right word. In fact, the word I'd like to use, I can't say on these airwaves. So, on behalf of millions of Hoosiers whose lives Dr. Box, gynecologist, you and the governor destroyed, and for all the colossal damage you did to our economy, I'd just like to tell you you're number one. And you can decide what finger I'm holding up as I'm telling you you're number one.
Hey, coming up, we're going to speak with Daniel Elliott. Tell everybody who Daniel Elliott is.
He is the state treasurer, and he is one of about 3 politicians I really like.
What does he do? We're going to find out coming up from 93 WIBC. It is Kendall and Casey. Thanks for listening this morning.
Mom, Dad, Sis?
Here we go again.
Why are you in a suit? Picture, if you will, a world with the best network imaginable. I'm talking about the Xfinity 10G network.
Go on.
Mom, remember how your reality shows wouldn't load with all of us online? Now you can binge. And Susie, we'll have fast internet in the basement.
Nice.
If you have any questions, here's my card.
This is just your name on a gum wrapper.
Introducing the 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through June 21st, new customers can get 200 megabit per second internet on the next generation Xfinity 10G network for just $35 a month for 2 years. Plus, there's no annual contract required, and you get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Mecum Auction, the world's largest collector car auction company, returns to Indy with Dana Mecum's 36th Original Spring Classic, May 12th through the 20th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. 3,000 muscle cars, Corvettes, exotics, and more. Broadcast live on Motor Trend TV and Motor Trend Plus. From avid collectors to those new to the Mecum experience, we welcome everyone. Register to bid now at Mecum.com.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
Indy's biggest party is back. Miller Lite Carb Day, Friday, May 26th with Brian Adams. With special guest Soul Asylum. Miller Lite Carb Day, May 26th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Concert pit and VIP tickets on sale now at IMS.com.
Honey Baked Ham isn't just for the holidays. It's Terry Stacy. Spring is a time for celebrations, graduation parties, bridal showers, and, of course, the 500. So many reasons to get together with family and friends. Let Honey Baked Catering help you celebrate with boxed lunches, sandwich trays, and buffet platters with all the extras. Mention this ad when ordering, and they'll take $10 off your catering order, totaling $100 or more. 2 Central Indiana locations, West 96th Street in Indy and Greyhound Pass in Carmel.
People everywhere are binge-watching their money. Now streaming on Lake City Bank Digital, when checking met savings.
Together we make so much sense.
Also featuring Adventures of the Penny Pincher.
My journey has not been an easy one, but my budget is going to survive.
Watch new episodes of Your Money unfold every day on Lake City Bank Digital. Learn more at lakecitybank.com/digital. Member FDIC.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted brand name in the business, Jacuzzi. For a virtual or in-home appointment, call 800-826-9895. That's 800-826-9895. 800-826-9895.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a quad shooting. One of the 4 wounded was killed overnight. Plus, a big voice as far as the state's health is calling it a career. And why police in Decatur County are honoring a young girl. I'm Kirk Darling. All that and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Who can stop the flood? Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. Texas law enforcement witnessing the end of Title 42.
We're going to try to stop it. Unfortunately, we're fighting our own government, who is really all about opening up the border. That's clear from what's happening right now.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on Fox News at night, and in the morning light, the new reality.
Migrants, they've been traveling for weeks to meet the end of Title 42 right there at the border. The White House releases this, saying starting tonight, people who arrive at the border without using a lawful pathway will be presumed ineligible for asylum. The border is not open. People who do not use available lawful pathways to enter the U.S. now face tougher consequences, including a minimum 5-year ban on re-entry and potential criminal prosecution. This comes after the White House released a plan that would allow the temporary release of migrants into the U.S. without court dates and without a means to track them. It was a last-minute tactic to try to ward off overcrowding in detention centers as thousands have waited on the Mexican side of our border for the COVID-era policy to expire.
That federal judge who granted Florida's emergency request to stop the mass release of migrants without court dates writes that without removal proceedings or vetting, it was no different than a Biden plan already ruled unconstitutional in March. March. The way Texas Congressman Chip Roy sees
They don't really care about the rule of law at all. They're ignoring existing law, dumping people into the United States, endangering Texans, endangering migrants at the same
A
time.
Republican speaking to Fox News. President Biden has taken debt and spending negotiations off his calendar today with congressional leaders. May pick up next week before leaving for the South Pacific. Speaker McCarthy doesn't believe President Biden wants to avert the crisis.
What I truly believe here, looking at the actions of this president, he doesn't want a deal. He wants a default. And the American people do not deserve that.
But there is word that staff teams are making progress, so the postponement is said to be good news, with more negotiations next week. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Fatal shots. It's 73 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling for Stockyards Bank. Here's what's trending at 10:02. 4 people shot on the south side of Indy Thursday night.
You know, all these individuals are young men. This is just not acceptable. There's an individual that's literally behind me laying dead on the ground.
IMPD Major Mike Leeper. Police say they found 4 guns in the parking lot of a Steak and Shake near UIndy where the shooting happened. They're looking for the shooter. Dr. Chris Box is retiring as state health commissioner. Box was named the state's top doctor by Governor Eric Holcomb in 2017 and helped navigate the state through the COVID pandemic. Dr. Lindsay Weaver will be succeeding Box as state health commissioner. 2 people had to be rescued from the White River on the northwest side of Indianapolis Thursday night because the boat they were in capsized. IFD Battalion Chief Rita Wright saying that they rescued one man who helped them find the other man.
That was vitally important to the successful location of this gentleman within the hour.
She says that he was found in about 20 feet of water, and he was in the water for about an hour, but he's at the hospital now alive and recovering. You may remember when a FedEx semi-driver was hit in the head by a rock last month, causing a crash on I-74. Well, police now have their suspects.
We were able to eventually identify 2 minors who were involved, which led to the detention of a 16-year-old male.
Decatur County Sheriff William Mary Rose says that Travis Hampton was badly hurt, but was saved by his 8-year-old daughter, Shalon Sharp, who was in the semi when it crashed and called the cops for help. Practice going on right now at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for this weekend's GMR Grand Prix, the race that Marcus Ericsson has been looking forward to.
I think it's a great way to start the month. I think, it's our highlight of the year is the month of May, and to start it off with a race on the road course is, in my opinion, a perfect way to do it.
Qualifying later today for the race, which is tomorrow at 3:30, rain or shine. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
What would you do with a little extra cash? Quick getaway, organic fruits and veggies, mini shopping spree? It's all possible with Stockyards Bank Extreme Checking. Earn 4% annual percentage yield on balances from $1 to $10,000 by doing things you already do every day. Just swipe your debit card at least 10 times a month on purchases of at least $5, set up a direct deposit, and enroll in e-statements. Splurging is easier with Stockyards Bank. So what would you do with a little extra? Visit syb.com/extreme to learn more today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here, and you know Casey get asked all the time, is there anyone in Indiana politics you like?
Yeah. And what's the answer?
Well, very few, but we do have one, and we found him. And we've reeled him into the studio. The state treasurer for the state of Indiana, Daniel Elliott, joins us now. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing great, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, first of all, this is the question people ask a lot. What in the world do you do? What does the state treasurer do?
Well,
do you just count money all day? Is there a big vault? Are you like Scrooge McDuck? You swim around in gold coins? What do you do?
Answer the first question, no. Answer the second question, yes. The answer to the third question, no. So, in other words, no, I don't count money all day. There is a big vault, It is like the most popular attraction for people who come visit the State House. And no, I can't swim around in gold like Scrooge McDuck. I could barely swim in water. So
he's just in a bathtub full of coins, right?
Well,
I have a question for you, Daniel, because you took Rob to some Hamilton County dinner thing, didn't you? Why?
I've been asking myself that many times. No, actually, in fairness, I guess I don't like following the status quo. And I'm like, Rob and I, here's what really happened. This is actually the funniest part about this. Rob and I had actually been the previous year we had sat at the same table. And we just happened to be sitting at the same table. We were chatting, visiting. I had an extra spot. I said, hey, I should invite Rob Kendall. And now Rob's not wrong. When I said that to some of my political friends, they were like, oh, no, that's a bad idea. You're joking, right? And when they said that, I'm like, oh, now I have to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, but I didn't think he'd come. I'm like, hey, Rob, you want to come hang out with me at a Lincoln Day? Which, let's be honest, they're not that exciting. And he was like, yeah. So
let's go.
Came and hung out, and then we tried to throw spitballs at Micah, but he had better seats than we did.
Oh, well.
So Daniel Elliott, state treasurer, our guest. So again, what does the state treasurer do? It's a statewide office. It's on our ballot every 4 years. What does that position do for the state of Indiana?
So the state treasurer is the chief investment officer for the state of Indiana. So I am in charge of investing about $13 to $16 billion, depending on
billion with a B.
Billion with a B dollars of state assets. I also, and that's a constitutional requirement. I also run what is basically called a bank. It isn't called the bank. It is called the treasurer's office. But it is, in essence, a bank where what are called warrants or checks can be cashed for whatever state needs happen. And that means we transfer about $1 million of money every day through different banks, $800,000 to $1 million daily. And then those are constitutional offices. The other thing that we do that is what are called statutorial is I run about 5 different what are called quasi-governmental agencies. So I am in charge of something called the Indiana Bond Bank, which may sound boring to everybody else, but to those of us who are from local government, it's a critical tool to help local governments with financing. The treasurer, and do not ask me why, Rob, I do not know, but the treasurer is in charge of the state 911 program.
Oh, yeah.
We are the only treasurer in the entire country in charge of the state 911.
Wait. So when I call 911, not that I hope I ever have to, but in case Casey gets unruly or out of hand and I got to call 911, you're in charge of that?
Yes, but that also means if people call 911 on you, I'm in charge of that.
Now, you said that the Treasurer's Department is in charge of investing state assets. Take us through that process. Like, you're the guy picking?
So I actually have portfolio managers. So my background is local government and software engineer. And so, yes, people joke, I come from rural Indiana. People jokingly call me the nerdy cowboy because, I'm a geek. There's a big old Millennium Falcon on my office at the State House. But the reality is I have people who work for me who have been portfolio managers for, one of them has been a portfolio manager for 32 years. So they do that day-to-day work. What we do is we go through and look at what are those assets that we are going to be investing in, and by law they have to be very strict. We don't get to no Bitcoin. Sorry, Rob.
Oh, no Bitcoin.
No Bitcoin. But we do invest in Treasury notes. We do invest in commercial paper, and here's the reason why. So Indiana has a beautiful system. So, you have checks and balances with the executive, legislative, and judicial offices. But Indiana actually developed a checks and balance within the executive branch. Back in the day, we're talking about way in the beginning of the founding of our state, we had a governor who thought, oh, you know what? We're going to build all these canals all over the place. It's going to be great for the state. We're going to make tons of money. We're going to put bunches of money into this.
Oh, it's kind of like we had the mayor of Noblesville on earlier. He wants to build a bunch of stadiums or a single stadium. Sort of same thing, but it was canals back then.
Well, it was definitely canals back then. And unfortunately, there was this thing called the steam engine that got invented right about the same time. So it was a disaster. And so the state constitution was changed. And so the governor, of course, does the day-to-day managing state affairs. The treasurer takes the money, invests it while we're waiting to spend it. And when we need to spend it, the auditor is actually the one who writes out those checks.
So this is like this ultimate check and balance. So that the governor can't just be throwing money at his buddies.
Absolutely. And on the treasurer side, when that money is needed, it has to be there. So if we have $1 million invested, we can't lose it. We can't have $900,000. We have to have $1 million. That money has to be there. So when we invest, we have to make sure that we are liquid, that we have gotten a good yield. And this is why I was interested in this role, because this role allows us to actually tax less. Because if we're investing wisely, then we have that money, plus we have extra.
Daniel Elliott, he is the state treasurer. He is our guest. All right, so Casey's boyfriend, Vivek Ramaswamy, she really likes him because he has a big wallet. He was in the news that InPurse, which is the public retirement program, right? They were coming under fire because the amount of money they had paid his firm, and I guess, kind of by default him, to invest money. Is that fair for people to be critical of the amount? It was like $4,000 an hour or something like that. Was that a fair criticism that people had, that we were spending that much money for a rich guy to get richer?
So in that particular situation, I sit on the board of InPurse. So I'm also one of the things that we were talking about. There's multiple quasis that I am in charge of, 529, 911, but on InPurse, that actually is, I'm only one member of a board. That board itself, they had decided and created this contract with Strive even before actually I came into office. And so that contract was very specific to look at a specific new policy built around ESG. And for those who don't know what that is, it's environmental social governance. It's a policy that many corporations have put in place to force entities and force investments to go in a certain political direction.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, I believe, is
that's one. That's on the governance side. Also on the environmental side, a lot. They want to divest from coal. They want to divest from fossil fuels. They don't want the country to be energy independent. On the social side, they get involved with social issues like abortion and so forth. And so this is literally this push. Now, InPurse had wanted to create a new policy built around ESG. They had a straight up contract. It wasn't a $4,000 an hour contract. That was just what their hourly rates could be. They had a straight up flat contract. I know that's boring, but that is what they had. Now, on that side, that's what they made that decision. I had no say so over that. But what I do have a say so, and you bring up ESG brings up a perfect point of having to fight on a bill that related to ESG. In other words, what we did is a bill was passed called House Bill 1008 that said we will not be using ESG policy for our investment purposes. We had to make that law because, frankly, and this is where I'm going to make people mad. I'm probably going to make Rob real happy.
You come to the right place, Daniel. You go for it, brother.
Well, let's just put it this way. It's amazing to me when I got in here my first day in office, and I've only been in office 5 months, my first few days in office, how much bureaucrats control state government.
Oh, no way.
What?
I know, but it really truly is. And so when I got in, I had people tell me, well, Treasurer Elliott, I hate when people call me Treasurer Elliott because I'm just Daniel. Treasurer Elliott, we probably need to study this issue. You probably shouldn't take such a strong stand on this. Maybe you should wait and let's study this. It's like, no. Investments should be focused on returns, pure and simple. The math is the math. I don't care if it's $1 million, $1 billion, or $50. Math is math. What's the best return, especially when we're talking about our public employees who are depending on a pension to provide for their families.
Daniel Elliott, State Treasurer, our guest, couple of minutes left here with him. This job, and I equate this to like a board of zoning appeals on local government. It's very important. Clearly, somebody has to do this job and do it well, and it's important they do it well. But it sounds incredibly boring. Why did you want this job?
So, like I said, I'm a bit of a geek. Sorry. I like numbers. I mean, I'm a software engineer by trade, and there's elegance in the numbers. I have told people, yeah, I get it. This job is probably boring for most people. And I realize and I recognize, Rob, most of the stuff I do every day would put you to sleep.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love the fact that, I literally get up early and stay late. I love the fact that we get to help local government. Like, one of the things I'm most proud of is we just passed, we just had some legislation passed that allows local governments and rural hospitals to have some credit enhancement. This is something that I thought would take us years to get accomplished, and we got it done in a couple of months. I know it's boring, but you imagine being a rural hospital trying to compete against the likes of IU and St. Vincent. I come from rural Indiana. I see the need. I see rural hospitals closing all the time. So for me, that is exciting. I know it's boring, but somebody's got to do the boring stuff. Might as well be me.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Elliott, State Treasurer, State of Indiana. My question, how often does the executive assistant for Eric Holcomb come ask for money out of petty cash?
They don't come to the office very often.
Yeah, no, I bet they don't make it to your neck of the woods. Hey, if people want to learn more about what you do, because we could talk to you for a whole hour. If people want to learn more about what you do, about how they can look, it's complex stuff, right? Is there a way? Is there a platform, a brochure, nice mailer?
Now, again, I'm a software engineer, so it's a website.
Perfect,
because the nice thing is, it's going to be updated frequently. Mm-hmm. TOS.in.gov.
TOS.in.gov.
TOS.in.gov. Unfortunately, you're going to have to see my face, but scroll past that really quick, and you can actually get into all the nitty-gritty details. And also, my door is open. We have
right next to the vault.
Right next to the vault. Actually, the vault is in my office, in our office, and kids come from all over the state to come tour the vault, and it's actually one of the more enjoyable part of my days when we get homeschool kids or public school kids coming in, and if I'm there, I always try to take a few minutes to talk to them.
I love this. Last time I tried to drop something off at the State House, I was told it would not serve Hoosiers well. I love this guy. This is a market improvement.
Right. I think we should go get pictures taken next to gold bars in the vault.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, there's a few quarters. People seem to be leaving it like a wishing well. So that's not a lot of money there, but it's still got a lot of history.
Daniel Elliott, the State Treasurer, thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate you.
All right. See you later.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The pothole. Formed in colder months, tiny fissures are born, and in no time at all, they grow into big,
gigantic tire killers.
That's why you need Matt Baird Traffic.
Watch out on Keystone Avenue.
He'll guide you around these hidden monsters.
Yeah, might as well call it a basement.
And on to safer ground.
You don't want to be in the far left lane.
Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
That's Faber's Bean Window. Trust me.
Are you thinking about your next home improvement project, but you need more than a window replacement? Whether it's siding, entry doors, or maybe a bath or shower remodel, design it before you buy it. That's right. B's using the latest in technology to create an architectural design so you can see our products on your house before you purchase. For a limited time, receive 50% off all products, plus special manufacturer rebates and 20 months no interest, no payments.
Trust me.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Right now at Tire Discounters, a free alignment is included with every tire purchased, even one.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Say, aren't you Ralph, the manager over at Tire Box?
Nope.
Okay.
Anywho, I only need one tire, so I guess I don't get none of your gimmicks, right?
Gimmicks? Even if you need just one tire, you still get lifetime rotation,
Gimmick.
lifetime balancing,
Gimmick.
and
Left one out, didn't you?
And now a free alignment is included with every tire purchased, even one.
See store for details.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, see our great selection of grills. We have Weber, Traeger, the Big Green Egg, and all the accessories.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
See that sign? No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Right. Learn it. Know it. Live it.
21 minutes after 10, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Trending this hour, actress Charlize Theron. She's threatening to blank up conservatives worried about drag queens sexualizing children. This happened during a portion of last Sunday's Drag Isn't Dangerous telethon. She was filmed alongside several of her friends, telling critics of drag to back off.
We love you, queens.
We love you,
We're in your corner, and we've got you, and I will anybody up who's like trying to with anything with you guys. It's really, in all seriousness, there's so many things that are hurting and really killing our kids, and we all know what I'm talking about right now. And it ain't no drag queen, because if you've ever seen a drag queen lip sync for her life,
Yep.
it only makes you happier. It only makes you love more. It makes you a better person. If I could do a death drop right now, I would, but I would probably like break my hip. But
So my question is, what is she going to do? Pierce my eyes with her whitened teeth? Laser me with a side eye? Bump me with her Botox? And why do they need a telethon to raise money?
Well, and this pains me because she was great in Arrested Development. But Kev's nodding along in approval. It's one of Kev's favorite shows. This is insane. And the idea that you want little children subjected to men who dress as women is also insane. And look, if you're an adult and you want to engage in that, then you're an adult and you can make those choices, and that's great on you, and that's fine.
But keep our kids out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the you are irate over the fact that little kids will not be subjected to this is just... The whole world has gone insane, Casey.
Also trending this morning, the 58th Annual Academy of Country Music Awards. They were last night, hosted by Dolly Parton and Garth Brooks. Let's look at some of the winners. Entertainer of the Year went to Chris Stapleton. Female Artist of the Year, she was just in town with Luke Combs, Lainey Wilson. Male Artist of the Year was Morgan Wallen. And Group of the Year went to Old Dominion. And finally, here's Joe Biden being creepy. He has a bunch of children at an event in the Rose Garden, and he's asking the boys about their ties, and he's asking young girls if they're hot.
Well, I tell you what, looking at the guys up front here, having to put on ties when you're on a school day, that's a hard thing to do, and all you lovely young ladies, you're not hot, are you?
So here's something to note during this event. The Biden administration had the press corps stand at the very back, thus ensuring no questions would be asked. And this event was held just hours before Title 42 ended. So again, all costs to protect Joe Biden. It's 24 minutes after 10. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and there's a new poll out that says Donald Trump was leading DeSantis in Florida, in the home state. Trump backers are backing him 42% compared to Ron DeSantis getting 34%.
Wait. I don't need to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Donald Trump, who is running for president, is beating a guy who's not running for president.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard that. And this is a news story. American Greatness released the poll. Now, of course, it is of some interest because it is Florida, but look, again, I just find it fascinating that people in the Trump orbit are obsessed with, look at how bad DeSantis is doing in the thing he's not running for.
Right.
Give the guy a month. if Trump is still up by 15 points on the guy after a month of running for president, then okay, it's probably not going to work out too well for DeSantis. But at this point, again, the guy has not even said I'm running for president, and by all accounts hasn't totally even made up his mind.
And it's still not going to come for a few more weeks if, in fact, he does do it. So there was this other poll from Morning Consult, and they found out that Donald Trump is very favorable. A lot of people like him.
Two Republicans,
79%. Yes. Which is that's a majority. That's a huge number. And his unfavorable numbers are decreasing over time. So it's like this guy, he's just getting better, according to people.
Well, it is interesting that no matter what Trump does, amongst Republican voters, it doesn't seem to matter. And I was on with Hammer and Nigel yesterday on Off the Rails, and we were talking about the town hall. And I am amazed at how it used to be the Republicans were the party of accountability. The actual elected officials were not, but the people in the Republican Party. And with Trump, it just doesn't seem to matter. Like, he can just flat out lie right to your face and say, I completed the wall. No. And yet, I thought the comments yesterday in our YouTube chat were hilarious yesterday because we had the audacity to point out areas where he just made factually incorrect statements that were easily disprovable. My favorite one was, "You're digging your own grave. It won't be long for you now, Rob." Mm-hmm. It is like no matter what this guy does or doesn't do,
people defend him and stand by him.
And to me, it is just mind-boggling that any politician would get that sort of just free pass. But with Trump, there's people who are just so into it that
what's
it
the
doesn't
difference?
matter.
Trump lies to you, and at least it's entertaining. Biden lies to you, and he's lying to you. It's like he doesn't even believe it.
The Trump stuff, and we got into this yesterday and Off the Rails, the Trump COVID stuff was so egregious. The printing of the money, the emboldening of Fauci, the promoting of masks, the promoting of the vaccine. And yet, when any other person does this, without Trump's bribe money, there is no Holcomb shutting down the state. And yet people, what other choice did he have? Mm-hmm. He didn't know what he was doing. Nobody would have known in that position. Yeah, a liberty and freedom-minded person would have known, because you don't change your convictions and principles based on, some fluid moving thing in front of you, and ultimately in which it was proven that all the stuff that the government didn't help at all, and it's really crushed society. And yet he doesn't get blamed on that either. It's like the people, inflation, it's all Biden's fault. Well, no, it's not. Trump printed as much money as Biden did, and yet with Trump, what else was he to do? So I find that fascinating, that there is almost, at this point, nothing that Trump can do that people will go, yeah, that's kind of messed up.
Well, you mentioned liberty-loving people, and Ron DeSantis was one of those guys, and he did not shut his state down for the duration that happened here in Indiana. But according to this Morning Consult poll, Ron DeSantis' favorability is going down as well. He lost a point, but you know who else lost a point or two? Mike Pence. Two guys who have not officially announced they're running for president, yet we're seeing how much we like them.
What, Casey? You mean if you're not competing in something and the other guy is competing and he just beats the heck out of you all day, people might think less of you? What?
But you know who is going up, who is gaining, and gaining strongly, actually, for really not doing a whole lot on the national scale, and that is Nikki Haley.
Oh.
She's up, 7 points?
And you know who enjoys just an indescribable level of favorability? If there was a poll, it would probably be 99.8%. Mm-hmm. And the only person who would give him a no is John Herrick. It's Kurt Darling, and he's up next with the news.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Don't forget, Mother's Day is this Sunday, May 14th. Helzberg Diamonds has an assortment of Mother's Day gifts, including keepsake pendants, diamond and gemstone stacking bands, and 14-karat gold hoops, perfect for layering. Helzberg Diamonds makes it easy to find a gift she'll love. And now through May 14th, you can save $15 off every $100. So hurry in today to one of Helzberg Diamonds' area locations or at helzberg.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Calling it quits. It's 74 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling for Stockyards Bank. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Dr. Chris Box is retiring as state health commissioner. Box was named the state's top doc by Governor Eric Holcomb in 2017 and helped navigate the state through the COVID pandemic. Dr. Lindsay Weaver will be succeeding Box as state health commissioner on May 31st. At the southern border, it's just been hours since Title 42 expired.
That rush of migrants never materialized, but that doesn't mean it's not going to in the coming days, and here's why. There are still masses of migrants gathered in Mexico. We sent a cameraman to Matamoros. This is what we saw. Migrants looked like they wanted to cross, but they were greeted by on the other edge of the river Texas National Guard physically blocking and repelling them. We saw one guy trying to get into the water to cross over. It was essentially a standoff with Texas National Guard and people who were wanting to cross over.
Fox's Bill Malugin. Michael Jordan's warm-up jacket from the 1992 Olympics Dream Team is up for auction. The Reebok jacket is estimated to bring a whopping $1.3 million. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Need a new furnace or air conditioner? Call the professionals from B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains.
Just go to B+W.com. B&W is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Now through the end of the month, race into savings at Hubler, where they make it easy to get the perfect car, truck, or SUV. Visit drivehubler.com.
Did you or a loved one serve in the United States military? Do you know all the VA medical benefits that might be available to you or your loved one? If you served 2 or more years in the military and were honorably discharged, you may be eligible for VA medical benefits. Some of those VA medical benefits might even be free. To learn more, simply follow VA Indianapolis on Facebook and Twitter. Follow VA Indianapolis on Facebook and Twitter. Get the VA medical benefits you earned and deserve.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
I had changed the locks, didn't even know where she was living. And then one night she calls to say she's getting treatment. Can I drive? I almost hung up. But then I thought, that's my kid. I chose to put away the hurt and the fear and just see my girl.
Addiction is a disease. Standing by a loved one as they fight it will test your faith, patience, and sanity. But it's possible when you see the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
At Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, we're not just good at insurance. We're good at Maya's half duplex with a 2-car garage that holds more concerts than cars insurance. We're good at Summer's 2-bedroom rental with an outdoor balcony for taking her virtual yoga class insurance. And we're good at Audrey's 3-bedroom remodel with walls that just aren't thick enough insurance.
Could you guys close the door? It's shut.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and stop knocking on wood.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
317-684-8444. That's the phone number if you'd like to contribute. It is 1034 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So earlier this week we had Indiana Rep Becky Cash on with us, and a lot of people still have many comments and thoughts about that.
Yeah, I've been so pleasantly surprised at the people that are fired up about this, because usually we're like, Give us the Mount Rushmore of your 4 favorite things at Taco Bell, and it's 3 weeks worth of phone calls. Hey, this life-altering thing happened, and we get one.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, people have really been fired up about that interview because I think it's one thing for us to say it, right? It's one thing for us to tell you every day because I know, I worked there. I know how the system operates. I know how the people there operate. And so it's one thing for us to say, look, these people don't read anything. They don't understand anything. They do whatever the party leadership tells you. It's one thing for me to say it. It's one thing for another person to come in here and basically say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, look, it only took 6 years, but it appears people are probably, okay, well, she said it, so it must be right. And they're really fired up to talk about how poor she made the representation in the House and Senate look. And so we continue to get, days later, lots of phone calls about that.
You guys had Becky Cash on the show the other day, and one of the things that she said was that people need to be calling in and sending emails to let the senators and representatives know what people are thinking. Well, I called my senator, Michael Kreider, and my representative, Mitch Gore, many times, and I've sent those guys many emails over the last 3 or 4 years, and I have not heard a single word back from either one of those guys. They never write back. I'm not voting for those guys again.
Well, Mike Kreider is a complete loser and total zero, so I feel bad you're represented by him. It's not anything better than I have with John Crane out in Hendricks County, but you pat on the back there for being subjected to that. This is why I said you can't try to talk to him anymore. The time for talking is over. You got to beat them at the ballot box because they do not care. I mean, look, we mentioned John Crane. One of his now former aides told me in front of a group of people, oh, yeah, he told us directly not to respond to you. But wait a second. Mm-hmm. I'm a constituent. Like he is supposed to. No, he told us directly, no matter what you send, do not respond to you. These are the dirt balls that represent us down at the State House. They do not like you. You are an annoyance to them. You are merely an obstacle to whatever donor or lobbyist or special interest group they're trying to appease. You have to vote them out. The time for talking, over.
I keep thinking about the Genesis song, No Reply at All. No reply at all. But I was surprised that she said that she had not heard from people. She said during that interview that she was not hearing from people. And yet every single day we get phone calls like that. I contacted my rep and I didn't get a reply. No reply at all.
Yeah, I mean, the whole system is fundamentally flawed because, well, and we have created the fundamental flaw because we have given them their supermajorities. There was a time where I think these people used to be somewhat responsive to public input because they feared losing. We have created the environment by which they don't fear losing. A lot more phone calls. What's next?
Yeah, I just want to leave a quick comment for the intellectual political juggernaut that called and said Rob should have given that representative mentorship. Well, I've never even been in politics, but I can give a little bit of mentorship right now. And I got it from the old Flintstones movies from the 1990s. Here it is, the best piece of advice you can give, freshman representative. Only an idiot signs something before reading it. That's all.
That's true.
I remember that lady called. So what he's referencing is a lady called yesterday and was basically making me out to be the bad guy because we talked about the things that she talked about. And I should have, I guess, the radio guy who makes $0 to be a state rep should mentor the lady who makes $60,000 a year to be a state rep.
Well, I think there was a little bit of empathy going on there for Becky Cash because during that interview, she admitted that she was learning. She's learning on the job. Give her 2 more years. She'll learn even more. And then that person had called and said, well, Rob, you should do the right thing and mentor them.
Okay, here, I'm going to...
Why is that your job?
Well, let me try. Let's, because
you're busy mentoring everyone else.
Well, we want to make everybody happy that listens, and so let me try this and let me see if I make this woman. Because I thought about this yesterday as I was at my other job, which I have to work thanks to all the Republican tax increases, and I thought about maybe a way I could handle that and try to make this lady happy. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Please, Becky. Please, next time, read the bills before voting on them. Please, Becky. Please understand what you're voting on before you cast votes. Please, Becky, please next time, don't vote against your constituents just because your one special interest item that you desperately wanted got approved. Please, Becky, think of us next time. And thank you, Becky. Thank you for not understanding what you were doing, despite the fact that you had an entire year and you made $60,000.
Okay, well,
did I do it better?
Yeah, you
was
did.
That, better?
That was great.
Was that good?
That was great. You behaved well.
Was that better mentoring?
But that's the thing. She probably did read the voucher part.
Oh, you darn betcha.
Because that was her thing. That was her issue.
Yes.
But that's the problem. When you have a state rep who only has one issue that they're focused on, it's very narrow-sighted. They're not representing everybody.
Yes. And then, speaking of which, we did get another lady who was very upset at me for not being nicer to Becky Cash.
Okay.
Hey there. I just listened to the interview with Becky Cash, and I actually went back and listened to it a couple of times because I just wanted to hear everything that she said. And, well, first of all, I think you and Hammer roasted her pretty hard after the interview, which probably is not going to make other people willing to come on your show. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm happy with everything that she said, but it just proves how corrupt the system is and that it's all set up by lawyers who can weave in tons of legalese to make anything completely unreadable by a normal person. I didn't gather that Becky was a lawyer, so I don't think a normal person could probably go in there and decipher everything that there is to read. If you started reading right now and read every single page of what these guys put together, besides what they put together at the last minute, which they do, and they hold back, and I'm sure that that's absolutely intentional, it would be impossible. I do understand her wanting something to hang her hat on. And if the people in her district really wanted the voucher system expanded and those people were vocal about it, at least she can hang her hat on that one issue. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it sucks. I'm saying the only solution is to vote out every single incumbent, mostly burn it all to the ground and start over.
Okay, so see, this lady, this is woman speak here, so you're going to have to help me because as most times in my life, I was told I was completely wrong, but then she agreed with me.
Right.
So help.
I'm just as confused as you are. Okay, so yes, the lawyers speak. Becky Cash admitted some of the tax code stuff. She doesn't understand that. It's difficult. That's why you have to take your time. You have to reread it. And if it takes multiple times to get through it and have a dictionary sitting by so you get it, that's what you have to do. That's what you're getting paid for. Why are you and Hammer, I guess you went off the rails and probably did something about this. Why are you and Hammer the bad guys for pointing that out?
Well, and this
you're not.
The issue here is if you don't understand it and you still vote for it, you are enabling the very system that you claim to be against. The reason they do this and the reason they buffalo rank and file members over is because they know the members won't stand up to them. If all the members, because I believe Becky's a very honest person, that's exactly what the Senate did, as she described it, in which the Senate, I think that's the major thing that came out of here, is that the Republican senators here in Indiana are actively working against the taxpayers. Like, they're actively working against the taxpayers and on behalf of special interest donors, lobbyists, whatever you want to call them. But if you don't read it or you don't understand it, you have to vote no on it. You're enabling this system you claim to be against by voting for the thing that you're allowing them to do the thing.
Yeah.
If everybody had raised their hand and said, no, we're not doing that. I think the most egregious thing they did was the school funding formula thing, where they had months to do this. None of them read it. They didn't understand it. They just went along with whatever Rod and Todd, the Flanders boys, told them to vote on. And then at the very end, they finally put the numbers up at 1 a.m. and they go, oh, shoot, my school district's going to get crushed. Can't do that. So they sprint back behind closed doors in a caucus because they don't have the cojones to do it out in public. And then they come back out and go, hey,
we found the money.
Yeah, we found $300 million. Where'd the money come from? Well, we took it out of the pension fund,
which was such a high priority to pay down.
Yeah, these people are gross.
And
they're gross. But then in the end, she's like, they should all be voted out, which is exactly what I said.
Yeah, that is exactly what you have said, what that lady said on that phone call. But she also said, the voucher system, Becky Cash wanted that expanded. She got what she wanted. But then she also said she's not hearing from her constituents to know what they want. So was that what she wanted?
Right.
Or was that what people in her district wanted?
Great question. And look, here's the deal. And we got to get to breaks. Hammer's up next. We were very nice to her when she was here, just like we were very nice to the mayor of Noblesville when he was here, just like we were very nice to Dan Elliott when he was here. Difference is I agree with most of the things Dan Elliott said, so I don't have much to rip him on. The mayor of Noblesville, and I told him on the way to the elevator out the door. And
kudos to him. He was confident. He had conviction.
He's clinically insane.
He was informed.
But we're not going to change what we think just because he came in here and told us the thing we disagree with. And we had a nice little chuckle about it. And I don't live in Noblesville, so whatever. Those people are going to pay $36.5 million or whatever it's going to be for that stadium for the Pacers minor league team. And he can spend it however he wants. And look, he's the mayor. The people got a problem with it, they can unelect him. But I'm not going to lie to his face and go, just because you're in here, I think that's great.
Right, that's a great idea.
I think that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. No, that would be the biggest disservice to our audience, to him. And he knew what he was getting into.
You called it a monstrosity, and he pointed out his points of why he disagrees with you, and then everybody parted ways.
And Becky is fine, and if I see her on the street, I'll be happy to wave and smile at her. Now, the difference is what she does affect me because she's an Indiana State rep, and she actually represents part of Brownsburg. But she's a big girl. We're not going just because you came in here, we're not going to stop saying the things we think. All right, Hammer's next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The biggest stories in Indy, and it's Beer Sample Friday. Let's have a little fun. 93 WIBC.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's spring cleaning time in Indiana, and that means it's not so much about getting rid of clutter. We also have to deal with everything from allergens and irritants to dirt and grunge being tracked into the home. Right now at Zero Res, you get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $149 plus a free hallway. Zero Res is part of my defense team for my allergies and my floors. Zero Res does it with no soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals using their patented ZR water. They really get the allergens and irritants as well as the dirt and stains out for a lasting spring clean. And the techs are the best in the industry, trained in extraction techniques that just work to get your things really, really clean. With Zero Res, things just stay cleaner longer with a softer and fluffier feeling that you'll absolutely notice. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $149, plus you get that free hallway too. Call 388-5141. Again, that's 388-5141, or schedule your appointment online at ZeroResIndy.com.
It's prime home selling season. Right now, home buyers are actively looking. With mortgage rates moving lower, now is the ideal time to get your home sold for maximum dollar. Make the smart choice. Hire the agent I recommend, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a low-ball instant offer. The great thing about Mark Dietl, he guarantees your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or he's going to buy it. Listen to what Matt out there in Greenfield had to say about working with Mark Dietl. I have investment properties, so I know who is good in the real estate world. I heard Mark Dietl was great, and it's true. I hired Mark for my most recent home sale, and he delivered a cash offer with no inspection and no appraisal in days. Mark is the real deal. Call the agent I trust and recommend for the details. Mark Dietl guarantees your home will be sold or he's going to buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
Announcing Palavana Cubano, the newest and tastiest Cuban sandwich restaurant in Indy, located in the Garage Food Hall in the Battle Works district. Palavana Cubano is dedicated to serving authentic, mouth-watering Cuban sandwiches, coffee, and pastries. If you have never tried a Cuban, you're in for a treat. A warm and inviting atmosphere with colorful decor that pays tribute to the vibrant culture of Cuba. For a quick lunch or relaxing dinner with friends, Palavana Cubano is the perfect destination.
Mecum Auctions, the world's largest collector car auction company, returns to Indy with Dana Mecum's 36th Original Spring Classic, May 12th through the 20th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. 3,000 muscle cars, Corvettes, exotics, and more. Broadcast live on Motor Trend TV and Motor Trend Plus. From avid collectors to those new to the Mecum experience, we welcome everyone. Register to bid now at Mecum.com.
Chapters of this story take a
whole month to tell. This is May. It starts with twists and turns on the IMS road course for the GMR Grand Prix. Then PPG presents Armed Forces Indy 500 qualifying and the Firestone Fast 6 shootout. May continues with Indy's biggest party, Miller Lite Card Day. And all roads lead to the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gamebridge. This is where heroes become legends and legends become legendary. This is May. Buy now and save. Get tickets at IMS.com. Visit Damon's Lawn and Garden at 4914 Rockville Road for endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, and spectacular hanging baskets. Plus garden and landscape supplies. The knowledgeable staff is ready to assist you. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Damon's West and visit their website at Damon's.com. That's Damon's.com.
Damon's Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden center.
Jesse Kelly here. I'm not a financial expert, but I do look for solid investment opportunities for investment growth and protection against loss. I do know that putting all your eggs in one basket is not a good financial plan. Securing your IRA or 401k with real gold and silver with Oxford Gold is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Or you can buy precious metals and keep them in your safe. One app, one call, and you pick your precious metals. That's 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Good morning. It is 10:51. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hammer joins us in the studio. So yesterday, Senator Todd Young was in northern Indiana. He was ripping on Biden. He said the Biden administration consistently fails to prioritize security at the border. But yesterday, he also, what do you call it, disendorsed, anti-endorsed, unendorsed Trump. And you and Nigel had a lot of comments about that.
Well, this is probably the best endorsement Donald Trump could get is Todd Young not endorsing him. Now, listen, I have not been as critical as you have, Rob, on Senator Young, but to come out there and basically flame Donald Trump and not commit to voting for the Republican nominee. Because he didn't just say, you know what, I'm for DeSantis, but if he's not the guy, I'll vote for the Republican nominee. If it's Tim Scott, if it's Nikki Haley, if it's Donald Trump. He didn't say that. He went out of his way to make it look like he was embarrassed and ashamed of Donald Trump. And if you are, that's fine. You know, welcome to the party, Bal. There are some people that are. But you're also a Republican senator. And I just don't think that that's a proper look. The people that voted for you 1 year ago, had you came out and said that before then, would you be in the position that you're in right now? It's easy for him to say it now because he just won re-election.
Yeah, and what's up with this Ukraine fetish that all these Republican senators have? Like, I think behind closed doors, Young dresses up like Zelensky or something.
Right,
because,
puts the lipstick on and dances to single ladies like the video that we saw Zelensky doing.
It's very weird, isn't it? I mean, that's what sets you off. It's not inflation. You know, it's not all these things that are harming Americans. Your top concern is Ukraine.
And you can be concerned about it, but it sounds like it's the only thing that he's concerned about. And he keeps signing these ridiculous spending bills. And I know this is in your wheelhouse, Rob, thus the Duke of Spendingburg, and just kind of doesn't give a damn about anything else right now. But you get the government that you elect, and here we are.
You said there was something yesterday on Off the Rails that I said that you would like to expand on.
So, yeah, we had a short amount of time yesterday with Off the Rails, but we were talking about inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation numbers came out, and you were rolling on your anti-Trump rant yesterday. You were like a mini Todd Young yesterday. Very small, very petty version of Todd Young. And you basically, on our show, blamed Donald Trump for all of the inflation problems that were happening right now. And do I have this correct?
Well, I don't think I blamed him for all of them, but I think I said he's a major role in it because the printed money is the printed money. And the reality is that Trump printed far more money than Biden printed. So how does Trump escape blame in the process?
Okay, so perhaps it came off the wrong way. It sounded like you were blaming Trump for everything, because when I look at Joe Biden and the ridiculous crap that he's put through and the money he's giving to Ukraine and these ridiculous spending bills, the green dream, as Pelosi once called it, before ultimately everybody signed off on it, you can't say that Joe Biden doesn't have his footprints all over what's happening now.
Oh, no,
when you go to the grocery store, fill up your gas tank. When you travel, you try to buy airline tickets, get a rental car. Every single thing that you do right now has Joe Biden's failures all over it.
Oh, sure. But it's like filling up a swimming pool. You can say this guy was in office when the pool overflowed, but it's all the water that went into the pool before. And let's face it, even pre-COVID.
But all the water is not
Trump.
Right. I don't think all
Inflation
the water
Reduction
is Trump.
Act,
No.
Omnibus spending bill.
But like Trump and Biden have combined to add, I mean, it's some amazing number. Like 1/3 of our entire national debt has come under these two, or I think it may even be more than that. That's a staggering amount of money. And Trump was adding staggering amounts of money to the national debt pre-COVID.
Had Trump won a second term, let's just say that, he survived COVID and he got a second term. Do you think the inflation numbers would be the same right now as they would if he were the president?
I don't think they'd be quite as bad because he wouldn't have done that final stimulus in March of 2021, which was kind of the last straw. But it would have happened inevitably because you can't sustain $30 trillion of national debt.
Well, also, he wouldn't have ended drilling. So gas prices wouldn't be as high.
I don't think the American public, and that's a great point, I don't think the American public would be feeling the burn, so to speak, had he received his second term. Gas prices would be down. I think you'd have better transportation situations, supply chain situations. All of that factors into what's happening right now.
Oh, and I agree. Like, again, I'm not Todd Young. I've said many times, if it's an orange peel or a burrito from Taco Bell, I'll vote for it over Biden. What I'm saying is the Trump's an infallible person people really perplex me because he does these things, and it's like, because he did them, well, that doesn't count.
Right. There's a difference between being a Trump cheerleader but blaming Trump for all of this crap.
What's coming up this afternoon on your number one rated show?
Man, we're going to have a good time. We'll bring you the biggest news of the day with our opinions, but it's Beer Sample Friday, and we're going to have fun.
Thanks, Hammer, and happy Mother's Day to Crystal Hammer.
Thank you.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's Friday. That means Sunday's going to be here in just 2 little days. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, Life Church might be the place for you. We talk about Life Church a lot here on this show, and Life Church has had such a great impact on my family and myself over the past year. They would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Life Church has campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, in addition to awesome online services. Learn more at lifechurchin.com.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TIRE for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TIRE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TIRE.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, get 30% off all patio furniture, wicker, Berlin Gardens, poly, cast aluminum, teak, and more.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the state's top doctor is planning to retire, plus who was shot and killed in a quadruple shooting on the south side overnight. I'm Kurt Darling. All that and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
The border is not open. Gianna Gelosi, Fox News. That is the message from DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to migrants on the heels of Title 42's expiration. But New Jersey Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew says,
I don't think there's a straight word that comes out of this man's mouth. And again, I don't mean to sound harsh this morning, but I'm just telling you how it is. Says different things, different times, doesn't tell the truth, literally says that there's no crisis.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff.
Migrants, they've been traveling for weeks to meet the end of Title 42 right there at the border. The White House releases this, saying starting tonight, people who arrive at the border without using a lawful pathway will be presumed ineligible for asylum. The border is not open. People who do not use available lawful pathways to enter the U.S. now face tougher consequences, including a minimum 5-year ban on re-entry and potential criminal prosecution. This comes after the White House released a plan that would allow the temporary release of migrants into the U.S. without court dates and without a means to track them. It was a last-minute tactic to try to ward off overcrowding in detention centers as thousands have waited on the Mexican side of our border for the COVID-era policy to expire.
But a federal judge in Florida struck down the Biden administration plan to mass release migrants without court dates. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody sued the Biden administration Thursday, arguing the memo was no different than a plan by the administration that was ruled unconstitutional back in March. Moody with a message for the president on Fox.
Biden, get it together. Send down FEMA, send down the Army, send down whoever you have to do. But you have to process and vet these people.
A planned meeting between President Biden and congressional leaders on the debt ceiling was set for today, but that's been postponed until next week. The White House said staff would continue to hold discussions, and the delay was billed as a sign of positive exchanges between Republican leaders, Democratic counterparts, and the president. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
She's stepping aside. 75 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling for Stockyards Bank. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Dr. Chris Box is retiring as state health commissioner. John Herrick reports on what comes next.
Box's last day is May 31st. Dr. Lindsay Weaver will be the next health commissioner. She starts June 1st. Governor Holcomb says Box was part of transformational change that will result in a healthier Indiana. And Holcomb says Box deserves a lot of credit for leading Indiana through the coronavirus pandemic. Box had been the state health commissioner since 2017. Sean Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
On the south side of Indy Thursday night.
We have 4 people shot here tonight. This is not acceptable.
IMPD Major Mike Leeper, the shooting outside of a Steak and Shake near Southeast Street in Hannah. One of the 4 shot, Artemis Boyd II, was killed in the parking lot. The shooter is still out there. Divers rescued a man from the White River Thursday evening. IFD search and rescue experts say a boat capsized, sending the man into the water at a point near the intersection of White River Parkway East Drive and Birdsall Parkway. The man was underwater for nearly an hour, but was rescued alive. He's critical at the hospital. Police have a lot of powerful technology at their disposal. One item helped arrest a wanted man Wednesday. Donnie Burgess.
Alex Murillo was driving through Gibson County Wednesday afternoon around 1 o'clock when he was pulled over by sheriff's deputies. The police scanned the car that Murillo was driving, and the scanner sent back one word: wanted. Police searched the car and found weed and cocaine inside. Murillo was arrested and faces drug possession charges. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
IndyCar drivers kicking off the month of May on the road course for the GMR Grand Prix tomorrow.
Usually quite fun races here. The track itself is maybe not the most challenging on the calendar, but it's
does produce some good racing is always super close, and the weather obviously spices things up.
Ganassi driver Marcus Ericsson, showers are likely at some point on race day. Green flag at 3:30 Saturday. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
What would you do with a little extra cash? Quick getaway, organic fruits and veggies, mini shopping spree? It's all possible with Stockyards Bank Extreme Checking. Earn 4% annual percentage yield on balances from $1 to $10,000 by doing things you already do every day. Just swipe your debit card at least 10 times a month on purchases of at least $5, set up a direct deposit, and enroll in e-statements. Splurging is easier with Stockyards Bank. So what would you do with a little extra? Visit syb.com/extreme to learn more today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together
on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, May 12th. It is 5 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. We're glad you're joining us today. You can find him on Twitter at Rob M. Kendall. You can find me there as well, Casey Daniels 317. And right now, you can also find us on YouTube as we stream live. Just type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. Stick around, because coming up later this hour, we're going to be speaking with Dave Majors. He is the CEO of Meekum Auctions, which is here in town. We're also going to be speaking with Susan Beckwith and our Mind Your Manners segment as we wrap up the week and send you off into the abyss with some social graces.
I'm so excited about this auction guy, because this is a huge event.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tony was talking about it today. You've been talking about it. What is it?
Well, we're going to find out in about 15 minutes. We're going to speak to the CEO and hear it straight from him.
Lots of cars.
Yes, a lot of cars and a few motorcycles.
Yeah, my dad actually goes to that every year.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big event.
It is a big event. Your dad have a big wallet to buy cars, or what's going on?
Casey, that's a very inappropriate question.
He's just going for fun.
We don't talk about money here.
Okay, it's not appropriate. Right. You know what we do talk about is E. Jean Carroll and Donald Trump. E. Jean Carroll is threatening to sue Donald Trump for a third time over his, quote, vile comments during the CNN Republican presidential town hall with Caitlin Collins. Okay, so this comes right off of the $5 million sexual abuse and defamation verdict. And then he went on that CNN town hall, called her a whack job, made fun of her pets and their names, and said he doesn't even know her, even though he was in a picture with her. He said it's just stupid. It's just disgusting. So now she wants what? She's going to sue him again? Like, when does this end?
Well, look, Trump does not have the ability to quit. So I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I do find it interesting. I mean, look, he clearly claims that it didn't happen, and he's very adamant it didn't happen. Trump would be a nightmare to have as a client. Like if you're an attorney, because obviously the number one thing they tell you as a client is don't speak unless we're, that's why you pay us. You pay us to speak on your behalf. Clearly, he's a different animal in the sense of he's actively running for president of the United States. So things like this could affect him and the votes, and certainly how women vote or perceive him. He feels obviously compelled to respond to it, like he feels compelled to respond to everything. But as an attorney, you got to just be going, dude,
stop talking.
I mean, on a lot of these things. I mean, these things he's under investigation on, et cetera. The thing, related to Alvin Bragg. It's like talking never makes your attorney's job easier. And I get that you're in a different state or universe than 99.99999% of the people, because you're a major party frontrunner for president and a former president. However, in terms of from a pure legal perspective, every time he opens his mouth, he hurts himself.
So this happened just hours after the verdict came down. So his blood is probably still boiling about this, right? And I felt there were a lot of things that he desperately wanted to get off his chest and talk about. When it came to the January 6th stuff and the election stuff, he probably should have just, let's just move forward. He couldn't let it go. And this is the same exact thing. She just won a $5 million verdict against him, dropping the bucket to Donald Trump, but yet he couldn't let it go.
Well, and so it's interesting you mentioned the election stuff, because I had a conversation yesterday at my other job with a very respected member of state government who I will not name, because I will not subject that person to the ridicule and potential shame that could be with being friends and openly associating with me. But we were talking about this, and this is a person who definitely voted for Donald Trump both times. We're not talking about a super liberal person. We're talking about a person who wants the Republicans to win. And this person said, I thought this was very good, that he, and I'm paraphrasing here, this is not exactly what they said, but they essentially said he cannot let that go. And there's a way that you can still state that you don't think you lost without throwing it in people's faces. And what Trump does, and we talked about this the other day when we were, I guess the town hall was Wednesday, so we talked about it on yesterday's show. When you say, well, the election was rigged or the election was stolen, and you just are adamantly stuck on that, one, it doesn't do anything for the people now. It doesn't do anything to help you right now, because the people who believe that, they're already voting for you anyway. Okay, so it does nothing to help you now. But what it also does is, and there's a lot of people out there who, if you catch them in a truth serum or a lie detector or whatever, will admit, yeah, I probably made a mistake because I voted thinking I was going to get some semblance of normalcy returning to the presidency. Joe Biden was a seasoned politician, been around forever. He'd been a vice president. The half paying attention person probably just thought, I'm sick of this guy. Biden will be normal. Let's go. And if you, right, and those people,
disappointment.
You can't beat them over the head with making a mistake. And when you say, well, the election was rigged, you're invalidating the decision that those people wrongly made. And so he could say, look, I think there were serious problems with the 2020 election. Those things absolutely have to be fixed. And then name the things. He never names the things, right? It was rigged. It was stolen. Okay, name the things in the states, and then say, but we have to look to the future.
Forward.
Right. And it's like he's just stuck, and he will not get off that.
And it's the same thing with this E. Jean Carroll. He's just so angry. Let it go. Let it go and move forward.
Trump offers no specific forward vision for the country. And I think that's a major mistake he makes. Like when he goes into the Ukraine, I'd have that solved in 24 hours. How? I'd have that solved in 24 hours. Okay, you would drill. I don't doubt that on that's one specific area, and it got a ruckus around him of applause because it was a specific policy proposal. But he is so scant on the specifics on stuff that it's not a forward vision for the country. Donald Trump has been very successful in his life because in business, and he did this in his 2016 run. You could picture whatever he was telling you. Right. So in his business life, when he's in a business deal, he will tell you something. He will sell you something. He will present something to you. And in your mind, in the mind of the investor or the guy he's trying to do the deal with, that person pictures, the end of everybody raising the bottle of champagne together. That's why he was successful. When he ran for president in 2016, there was a vision of, okay, I'm going to build the wall. I'm going to get tough on China. I'm going to put American manufacturing back. That's why he won in those swing states. That's why he won in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those people could visualize, if I vote for him, then this will happen. He didn't do that in 2020. He behaved like a lunatic in those debates in 2020. He totally alienated people. And look, I get that he was kind of stuck in neutral because of COVID, but ultimately he's the president. The buck stops with you. And he's doing the same stuck in neutral that he was doing in 2020.
Well, I think the reason, the drill baby drill comment got such the round of applause is because that is something that everybody can attach themselves with and agree with. If you're worried about the inflation and the gas prices and everything else under the Biden administration, well, here is something the exact opposite to that Donald Trump is saying that he would do to solve the problem. Like any good businessman, ABC, right? Always be closing.
Yeah.
And that is something that he does. However, there were times during that CNN town hall where he couldn't because he couldn't show his cards completely. Here's a man who wants to be back in the White House. He knows he's going to have to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin. So he's not going to show his cards, and he's definitely not going to do it on national TV.
It is people, us, you, me, people who work in this building. One of the mistakes we make is we often don't separate ourselves from the environment in which we live. And it's often true of people who listen to talk radio too, because they're super informed, super knowledgeable, totally aware of what's going on. They want to be informed. And it's sometimes tough to separate and realize there are a lot of people out there who don't live that life. And you have to, it is hard to compel people to be informed and be educated. It's just a very hard, and that sucks, and that's why our country's in the position it's in, because people don't want to be informed, they don't want to be educated, they don't want to be involved.
It can be very depressing to be informed.
Well, it can, and it's also a lot of work to inform people.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, people that keep defending Trump on a lot of these things, you're defending Trump from your perspective. You're not rationally thinking about how the uninformed, unengaged person is viewing this. And the reality is Trump won those states in 2016 because he offered a very clear vision to the average uninformed person. He also was very blessed that he was running against the most unlikable major party nominee probably in American history.
Yeah.
And those two things put him over the top. He's not offering that vision. People are not going to vote for you based on some victim mentality because Trump is not a sympathetic figure. There are some people who can play the sympathetic card great. Trump is not that. There are some people, when bad things happen to them, even if they're of their own doing, you go, oh my gosh, you poor, terrible person.
Right, but with Trump, you're thinking, oh, you're going to dry your tears with $100 bills.
Exactly. And so the challenge to people, and especially people get mad at me when I tell you these things, I tell you them because this is why I'm good at what I do. I have the ability. I've been elected. I've won elections. I've worked in government. I understand how people outside of the sphere we live in view things, and Trump is not appealing to those people. And until he does that, he's not going to win.
All right, coming up next, we're going to try and get Dave Majors on the line. He is the CEO of Meekum Auctions, which is in town starting now and all next week. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
I remember those family moments listening to the Indianapolis 500.
The magic of May.
Pool party, grill out, beers, hot dogs, listen to the race.
The traditions.
The playing of taps right before the start of the race.
The drivers.
Rick Mears.
Elio Castroneves.
Al Unser Jr.
The memories.
Everybody tailgating and having a good time.
For more than 70 years.
AJ Foyt takes the lead from Eddie Saxon.
Your home of the Indianapolis 500. 93 WIBC.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Denny Smith here. Sundown Gardens is celebrating Mother's Day the right way. The annual 20% off hanging basket sale is on now. Come find the best arrangement that will show off all summer for your mom and save 20%. See their wonderful selection of annuals that will show Mom your love for her. Shop Miss Mary's Gift Shop to find the perfect gift that pairs with Mom's hanging basket, like specialty chocolate. Now 30% off through Mother's Day. Sundown Gardens is at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com.
Hubler has all the top brands: Chevy, Buick, GMC, Ford, Acura, Honda, Mazda, Nissan, and more. And every new vehicle includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Looking to sell your vehicle? We'll pay you top dollar, even if you don't buy ours. Take it from Brooke Hubler.
You can get a car anywhere, but you can only get a warranty like this at Hubler. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Visit drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all.
Warranty available on new vehicles except certain models, not transferable or available on leases. Copy of the warranty is available for review at the dealership.
Jesse Kelly here. If given the choice between financial stress or peace of mind, I will always choose peace of mind. That is why I've secured gold and silver from the Oxford Gold Group. Having precious metals in your home safe or in your 401k or IRA should be considered your investment strategy. Simply put, it's a portfolio protection plan. One app, one call, and you pick your precious metals. That's it. You now own real precious metals just like I do. Call 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, see our great selection of grills. We have Weber, Traeger, the Big Green Egg, and all the accessories.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Mr. Bellin, will you take the ceremonial shovel?
Thank you.
And dig into the symbolic dirt.
I hereby dedicate this building to myself.
20 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC and on the drivehubler.com hotline. We have Dave Majors. He is the CEO of Mecum Auctions. Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Good morning. We are underway here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds for Dana Mecum's 36th annual Spring Classic.
All right, lots of cars. So let's get into it. Before we begin, can you give us an overview and tell everybody what is Mecum Auctions? What do you guys do?
Mecum Auctions is the world's largest collector car auction company, and by collector cars, that's anything from pre-wars, early 1900s, 50s, 60s, 70s American muscle cars, and right up to brand new exotics, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches, Mercedes. And we do 13 events a year across the country. Indianapolis is our second biggest event. In total, we will bring about 15,000 cars to auction this year for a total sales of about $850 million. And we have 3,000 cars here at the Indianapolis State Fairgrounds today.
Dave, I'm curious. Has the car industry, we saw collectibles during COVID, whether it's magazines or baseball cards or coins or whatever. See huge spikes in prices. They've kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Has the collector car industry kind of been the same way?
Yeah, all collectibles saw that spike, as did the collector car business, and we actually increased our total sales by about 50% during the pandemic, just because of that strong increase in price. I would say in the collector car market, we've not seen the retraction that maybe you've seen in other places, but we have seen prices start to level out a bit. They just haven't fallen backwards.
I want to know about some of the cars that you have. Do people prefer the resto mods, or do they like them with all the original parts better?
It's interesting. The first time I saw a resto mod was here at the Indianapolis auction, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And it was a 1965 Corvette split window, which is a very popular Corvette, probably one of the most popular models. And the collectors looked at it as kind of an abomination. You've taken this beautiful 65 split window and you've done this to it. You've ruined the car. It didn't get a lot of attention. But in the last 3 or 4 years, resto mods of Corvettes and really any 60s and 70s American muscle car, they're beautifully done, and they are some of the most popular cars at the auction and command prices in the several $100,000 range for ones that are well done.
Casey, did you want to introduce our guest before I ask this next fabulous question?
Yeah, we've got Dave Majors. He's the CEO of Mecum Auctions on the line with us.
Dave, I'm curious, when you watch a movie, like when people are in professions, whatever their profession is, it kind of maybe ruins the cinematic version of whatever. Are you super picky when you watch movies with old cars? Do you look at them and go, oh, those people are full of crap on that and that is wrong?
I drive my wife completely crazy.
I bet.
And so often it'll be, you're watching a movie that's maybe set in 1962, and they show a 1965 Corvette, and I'll immediately point it out. That car wasn't even made. This movie supposedly took place.
Right. Was there anything wrong in Ford versus Ferrari?
No, actually not. And that, what a great movie that was. And we actually own one of those GT40 prototypes. And so we had all of our staff. We rented a movie theater and took the entire staff to see that movie because sitting right outside of my office is that, one of those very cars that the Carroll Shelby cars. So we were really happy to see that, and that brought a lot of attention not only to the 2005 and 2006 Ford GTs, but now the new Ford GTs that came out in 2017 that are still being produced today, that are bringing a couple of $1 million at auction.
You have a 1968 Shelby convertible that's going to be, I think it's a lot S169 that's going to be up in the auction, and I don't know, but if I'm putting down a couple $100,000 for this classic car, I want it to have air conditioning in it and things like that. Do people who are buying the car like who are these people? Are they all movie stars with a big wallet, or what is your customer base?
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, we bill ourselves as the collector car auction company for everybody, and what I like to say is it doesn't matter what make, what model, what color, or how big your pocketbook is, it's probably here someplace for you in 3,000 cars. We started today, we're selling cars that are collector cars at the low end of the scale that are $10,000, $15,000 each. And by the time we get to a week from tomorrow, the last day of the auction, we'll be selling cars that are obviously multi-millions of dollars.
Wow.
So we don't cater to just the elite. We're a family-owned business. Dana Mecum started the company, this kitchen table, in 1988. He has 4 sons that work with us every day in the business, and we like to say that everybody is welcome to our auctions and everybody's part of our family.
Casey, real quick, you want to introduce our guest?
Yeah, it's David Majors, CEO of Mecum Auctions.
Now, I'm curious, when you guys come to a community, it almost seems like it's like, hey, the Rolling Stones are playing tonight in Indianapolis, and there's all these people who come. Can you talk about and you guys do this all over the country. Can you talk about the impact, from a fiscal standpoint, a financial standpoint? You guys bring a lot of people to our city and create a lot of commerce.
Yeah, I call us the traveling circus because we do travel like a circus. We, at last count, I think I'm still correct, we travel in 35 semis to move this show from one city to the next. And that includes 18 semis that are just equipment, all of our lighting grids, our stage sets. When you come to one of our auctions, everything you see we brought with us. And then we have 14 car haulers that we use to bring customer cars. Of course, not all of them. We can't haul 3,000, but a lot of customer cars. And one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that we produce our own television show. So we have 4 television trucks that come with us as well. So when you see people on our stage wearing Motor Trend TV T-shirts and sports coats for the announcers, there's nobody here that works for Motor Trend. They all actually work for us, and we're producing our own show. So, the first economic impact is I have 300 people that travel with this show that are going to be here for 2 weeks. They're going to stay in hotels. They're going to, eat and hopefully not go to the refreshment establishments very often. But, beyond that, we will have somewhere around, I would guess at this event, 40 to 50,000 people that will come here, not only from, just the local community, but from all over the country, filling hotel rooms and, again, restaurants. And maybe most importantly to the state, we're going to do at this event somewhere around 120 to $140 million of sales over the 9 days. And, of course, we're collecting sales tax on those sales. So it has an economic benefit to the state coffers as well.
Dave Majors is with us, CEO of Mecum Auction. Dave, we only have about a minute left, and I've got a bunch of questions that I still want to get through. So let's just rapid fire really quick. What happens when a car doesn't meet the reserve?
We have the right to continue to sell that car for 21 days. We have a booth called Bid Goes On. If it didn't make the reserve, you know what the lowest bid was. You go to the Bid Goes On booth, make an offer higher than that, and we still close probably 10% of the cars here after it crosses the block.
Where do you find the cars that are in the auction?
So all of these cars are consignment cars. They come from all over the country. People call us up and say, I've got a car I want to sell at your auction in Indianapolis, or maybe I'm a collector. We have 30 collections at this auction that range anywhere from 5 cars to 50 cars coming from just one individual. So a lot of these cars are within a 6-hour radius, but this event draws all over the country.
I'm excited about the Elvis Presley motorcycle that you have. Yeah. And so what, does somebody from his estate call you and say, hey, we've got this Harley Davidson. It was the last Harley Davidson that Elvis Presley ever purchased. You guys want it?
Yeah, it actually wasn't the estate. It's a private owner that motorcycle was purchased by Elvis Presley. It was titled in his name. He never actually picked it up from the dealership. And so it was bought secondhand from another buyer, and that's who's brought it to the auction. So getting a lot of attention, of course, is every time we have something Elvis Presley, it does.
Yeah. And which vehicle are you most excited about?
I'm like everybody else, the Black Ghost. I like vehicles that are iconic, that have a story, and the Black Ghost is probably one of the most fascinating stories that got its name. It's a 1970 Challenger. Been in the same family since 1970. It got its name because it would show up at street racing at night in Detroit. Nobody knew who owned it. It would take on all comers. It never got beat, and it would disappear into the night just as quickly as it showed up. Yeah. And so it had that mystique around it.
Sounds like the show we do here, Dave. Sounds exactly like that.
Shows up under the cover of darkness and disappears. Yeah. Dave Majors, CEO of Mecum Auctions, we appreciate your time. If you would like more information on the event that starts today and is going all through next week, you can find them online. It's mecum.com. That is MECUM.com. Dave Majors, thank you. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Deciding to step down. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Dr. Chris Box is retiring as State Health Commissioner. Her last day will be May 31st. Then Dr. Lindsay Weaver will take over as Commissioner on June 1st. Governor Holcomb says Dr. Box deserves credit for a lot of things, but especially for getting Indiana through the coronavirus pandemic and advocating for a modernized public health system. No meeting today as planned between top congressional leaders and President Biden on the debt ceiling. Staffers for both have been meeting throughout the week with each other.
I don't think there's enough progress for the leaders to get back together. I don't know having certain ones in the room that's even productive.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, they're pushing their next big meeting to next week, and they have a deadline of around June 1st to pass a debt ceiling increase. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Need a new furnace or air conditioner? Get the best from B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains.
Go to B+W.com. B&W, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Visit Damon's Lawn and Garden at 4914 Rockville Road for endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, and spectacular hanging baskets. Plus garden and landscape supplies. The knowledgeable staff is ready to assist you. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Damon's West and visit their website at Dammons.com. That's Dammons.com.
Damon's Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden centers.
Indy's biggest party is back. Miller Lite Carb Day, Friday, May 26th, with Brian Adams. With special guest Soul Asylum. Miller Lite Carb Day, May 26th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Concert pit and VIP tickets on sale now at IMS.com.
Honey Baked Ham isn't just for the holidays. It's Terry Stacy. Spring is a time for celebrations, graduation parties, bridal showers, and, of course, the 500. So many reasons to get together with family and friends. Let Honey Baked Catering help you celebrate with boxed lunches, sandwich trays, and buffet platters with all the extras. Mention this ad when ordering, and they'll take $10 off your catering order, totaling $100 or more. 2 Central Indiana locations, West 96th Street in Indy, and Greyhound Pass in Carmel.
I'm a grandson, a son, I'm an employee and a mentor. I'm a father to 2 beautiful kids and a husband to an amazing wife. And I have a substance use disorder. In other words, I'm living in recovery with an addiction. And now that you know, will you let it change how you see me? It's okay to see my addiction, but I want you to know it's people choosing to see me as a person that changed my life.
See the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitation.
It is 11:35 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and here's a name you may not have heard for quite a few years: Jordan Vandersloot. You remember this guy. He's being extradited back to the United States, and this time for extortion and fraud charges related to the disappearance and the murder of that Alabama teen,
Natalie Holloway.
Yeah. And this goes all the way back to 2005.
Now, of course, for those of you who may have a passing knowledge of this, or may have say, what are you talking about? In the mid 2000s, 2005, I think you said, Jordan Vandersloot allegedly killed this beautiful young girl. She was on some sort of, it was spring break.
It was a high school graduation trip.
Yeah, to
Aruba.
Aruba, yes. And Vandersloot's dad was a big time Politico. And basically, there's 93 different versions of what happened, and depending on who you believe, they basically were kind of all in cahoots together, depending on, the allegations, at least I should say, was that they were in cahoots together on covering up. He kills her, and then the dad's in on the cover up, and the authorities look the other way. And obviously it's in Aruba, so it's very hard for the family to engage in any sort of investigation on its own. This went on for years and years and years. He was never tried or convicted, but then he was convicted. Was he convicted later for murder, right?
Of another woman who he murdered 5 years to the date of Natalie Holloway.
And so
he's in a jail.
Yeah, it was in a hotel room, and it was, a lot of people said, okay, look, no surprise here. And the guy probably, allegedly, killed this other girl and gets away with it, and then it's almost OJ-esque in the sense of you get away with it once, but you have so little self-control and you're such a lunatic that in the case of OJ, he didn't kill another person. He robbed someone, which is why he went to prison for several years.
Prosecutors accused him of killing Flores, which is this other woman, after she saw something on his laptop apparently, and he confessed to her, and then he murdered her, and he was sentenced to 28 years in prison for the murder of the second one.
And so now that was Aruba as well, right? Is that right? Yeah. So now those authorities have agreed to extradite him because for years he had avoided going back to the United States to face any sort of justice, potentially on Natalie Holloway, because those authorities had refused to extradite him. However, now in a I guess extortion would be the word,
Yeah.
dating back to he had apparently, allegedly said, hey, I'll give you information on where she's buried if you pay X amount of money.
$25,000.
And so this, now the feds are involved in it, and so they have apparently been able to throw around enough weight and muscle to get Aruba to agree to extradite him back to the United States.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about this world's oldest dog.
I love this story.
Yappy birthday, world's oldest dog, Bobby,
Yeah.
is 31.
31, Casey!
31. Okay, so it's a purebred. He was born in 1992.
He's older than Kevin.
He's part of the Guinness World Records book. And there's a veterinarian clinic or something that proves, yes, this dog was born that long ago. The average age for this breed is 12 years old. So he has more than doubled his expected lifespan.
And he lives in Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lovely photo. The New York Post ran a big article on this guy. And you just see the pup, and there it is. And it looks in very good health. I mean, at least for being 31 years old. How old is your dog?
My dog is just turned 13.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, her birthday, you'll love this, Rob. My dog's birthday is on tax day.
Oh, how exciting.
So we're reminded every year. But yeah, she's getting a little long in the tooth. She's slowing down. She takes a lot of naps.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine a 31-year-old dog.
Now, his mom,
Mm-hmm.
this dog's mom, also lived to be 18 years old, which again,
runs in the family.
for that breed is very, very impressive. But that is so cool that this dog has lived to be 31 years old.
The owner says that looking at the dog is like remembering all the people and family members who have come and gone in his life as well, because the dog is the constant
That's
that's
awesome.
been there through all of it.
I love this so much. One thing I don't love, though, because we've got a few minutes here, of course, the news reading the big announcement that Dr. Bach's gynecologist, the state health commissioner who was the architect of the shutdown and the mask mandates and all the stuff that Holcomb did during COVID, is retiring. And naturally, Holcomb, with his power pants on, acting like this woman should deserve some sort of parade. And as you head into the weekend, let me be as clear as I possibly can be on this. This woman deserves nothing but scorn from us as a collective. She was a total hypocrite. She went on statewide television finger-wagging people about wearing masks and then did it. I mean, the crazy thing is, Casey, she did it after she knew she'd been at her kid's wedding not wearing a mask. The photos didn't surface until after she was being a colossal hypocrite. The state was a total failure during COVID. The actions that she and Holcomb took didn't help or protect anyone. There's no scientific evidence to it whatsoever. They pulled it out of their backside as they went along. They cost over 1 million people their jobs. They closed down tens of thousands of businesses. A whole bunch of them never reopened. They tried to put you in jail for not wearing a mask. So do not salute this woman. Don't pat her on the back.
Don't give her a Sagamore of the Wabash.
Well, I'm sure she'll get one of those, and I'm sure she'll end up somewhere nice and cushy. But this woman deserves no respect from any of us. She deserves no applause from any of us. She deserves a giant batch of scorn from all of us because she had no idea what she was doing. A gynecologist is no more qualified to advise during a pandemic than you or I, and yet they took her word as some sort of infallible piece of advice, and none of it worked. She was everything Holcomb's government has been the entire time he's been governor. It was big, it was bloated, it was centralized, it was about stomping out people, and it failed miserably. And Dr. Bach's gynecologist, you are a giant failure. You failed miserably. And as I said earlier, on behalf of the nearly 7 million people of this state, I'd like to extend one finger to you to tell you you're number one, and it ain't the index finger.
It is 11:42. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Two things I want to get to before we get to a break, because we do have Susan Beckwith joining us in just a minute, and we're going to mind your manners as we head into the weekend.
Oh, perfect segue to minding your manners.
Talk about elevator etiquette. Elon Musk has announced he has hired a new CEO of Twitter. She's going to be starting in 6 weeks. He says, my role will be to transition from being the executive chair and CTO to overseeing product and software. So he's out as CEO, bringing somebody else in. And before we get into break, reminder, Sunday is Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
And the woman who brought you into this world would love to hear from you. Take it from one mother. She wants to hear from you. All right, Susan Beckwith joins us next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, what's the latest from the border with the end of Title 42? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
If your leaky chimney is at it again, there's only one place to call. That's Chimney Solutions. Chimney Solutions has over 20 years of experience inspecting, sweeping, and troubleshooting chimney systems. From repairing your masonry to waterproofing to chimney caps, they handle it all with craftsmanship guarantees. The Chimney Solutions team is Chimney Safety Institute of America certified and members of the National Chimney Sweep Guild. Call Chimney Solutions today at 317-757-6979. Online at chimneyindy.com. That's Chimney Solutions.
LifeChurchIN.com. That's the website. Life Church is awesome. We talk about them a lot here on the show, about the great impact they've had on my family and myself the past year, and they would love the opportunity this Sunday, just 2 days away, by the way, to meet and welcome you and your family. So if you've been thinking about a new church home or even a first church home, maybe give Life Church a chance. They got campuses across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, in addition to great online services. And now you can check out their church service broadcast Sunday night, 9:30 on WHMB TV 40.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TIRE for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TIRE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TIRE.
Diamonds Direct invites you to join us as we celebrate all the moms in our lives. This Mother's Day, we're giving Mom more to say thank you for all she does. With every fashion jewelry purchase of $2,500 or more, we'll give Mom a free customizable diamond initial pendant valued at nearly $800. We've put together an exceptional collection of meaningful gifts for any budget. The perfect heirloom pieces to pass down to the next generation of moms. Birthstone rings, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. This year, she deserves a gift that keeps giving, and at Diamonds Direct, that's our specialty. Timeless gifts of jewelry she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come. Now's a great time to upgrade her diamond studs or pendant with Diamonds Direct's unmatched 110% upgrade. Come let the experts at Diamonds Direct help you find that remarkable gift that says, "Cheers, Mom, for all you do and for who you are." Diamonds Direct. Get locations and store hours at diamondsdirect.com.
At Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, we're not just good at insurance. We're good at Dillon's Jam Session Truck Insurance.
Where the backwoods party and the diddle-da-doo.
We're good at Ben's Hype Machine on Wheels Insurance.
You a boss. You were him.
And we're good at Ethan's SUV with surround sound insurance.
Dad, play Johnny Johnny Apple Pie.
You got it, bud.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and stop knocking on wood.
If you find yourself racing to finish your shower before the hot water beats you to the checkered flag, then it's time to consider a tankless water heater. Pat Sullivan here for Hope Plumbing. During the month of May, my friends at Hope Plumbing are revving up their tankless deals, like a $1,000 buyback. That's right. They'll buy back your water heater for $1,000 with the installation of a tankless heater. Sounds like a win to me. Check out their website at hopeplumbing.com for all their May deals.
Now through the end of the month, race into savings at Hubler, where they make it easy to get the perfect car, truck, or SUV. Visit drivehubler.com.
It's time to mind your manners with Susan Beckwith.
Use your manners everywhere, anytime and anywhere. Good manners matter. All of them you have to master.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey show. And Casey, it is time to take our audience into the week with a little bit of etiquette on how to be better people in society.
Yes, let's talk to the belle of the Midwest.
Yeah, so if you are new to what we do here every Friday, we give you what you need to be a better person over the weekend, better manners, better rules for the road, better living amongst the masses. And we turn to our former Miss Indiana, Susan Beckwith. All right, Susan, you were very excited to talk about elevator etiquette this week. And I've got to start with, because I do this all the time, is it okay to talk to random strangers in an elevator?
Yes, actually, it's okay to break the ice and kind of acknowledge good morning, hello, but you kind of want to use your social IQ beyond that and kind of feel out whether or not you think they want to engage in further conversation.
So I just keep talking to the person. Is that wrong? Should I not just keep talking to the person if they don't respond?
Well, a lot of times people will give you those cues on whether or not they're not really wanting to engage in further conversation. But what I have to just comment quickly that makes me laugh is Micah had this exact question as you. That was the one that he inquired about as far as should I not just get on there and start talking. So it's no wonder you all are good friends.
I had no idea that there was actually etiquette in an elevator.
Oh, there are. And I have to just say, before we dive any further into specifically elevator etiquette, there were a couple reasons why I thought this was relevant. We have a lot of new grads that are, completing their college education, going to be entering the workforce. Mm-hmm. And in my normal 9 to 5, I'm in and out a lot of hospitals, so I'm taking a lot of elevators. And some of these really common sense things you'd think people probably know, but I'm sometimes amazed. It would not be bad to just do a review. And then just in general, I was thinking about all of your great listeners. You have many female listeners. I know you have many male listeners. I believe you are number one.
Yeah, we're number one.
Yeah, number one.
Number one.
Yeah, you got that.
But we got to do better with the women, which is why you're here. You're here to make us better with women.
Well, you're number one with that Key Money demo. But here's the thing. Whether you're female or male, when you act with a level of refinement and chivalry, it's becoming. And I feel like those soft skills sometimes will benefit you and you may not even realize it. So needless to say, there is hopefully stuff to be gleaned from reviewing. But let's get back into talking about elevators specifically.
Yeah, Susan Beckwith, our guest is Mind Your Manners. We're talking about elevator etiquette. Okay, so you're on an elevator. You're trying to go somewhere. Mouthy McGee, your coworker, keeps talking to somebody out in the hall. How long do I have to hold the elevator for this person who's disrupting my day?
Well, especially if the elevator is full, I would not hold it longer than 15 to 20 seconds. Now, if it's just the two of you, then that's a different scenario. But if there's an elevator full of people that need to get to their destination, you want to be respectful of their time.
Because like your husband will talk to someone for 9 hours straight. It would be the sun would be coming up when we would get there. He would still be engaged in a conversation and the sun would be going down. So that, I do not like, I've always felt weird about having to hold for someone who is disrupting my day.
Well, then you can just yell out, the bell in the Midwest says I have to close the door. But, this is why we drive separate, because I love people. I do. But he is, extroverted in a way that I am not.
Okay, now, Susan, I would imagine that COVID has changed a lot of people's thinking in the elevator. You see a packed elevator, the door opens. Do you want to get in there, or do you, no, I'm going to wait till the next one?
I definitely think COVID, probably made people more aware of proximity. And so when you get onto an elevator, COVID or not, just creating kind of space for future riders that could potentially be getting on. You want to kind of take to the back of the elevator. You want to face forward. I mean, all of these things are very common sense things, but when you think about how odd that would be if somebody didn't, it's just good to review. So, yes, be aware of proximity and how close you are, and, you want to be respectful of people's space.
Now, I want to ask you about safety. Being a lady, what if the door opens and it's a man and you're getting the vibe that I don't want to get on this? Do you just nope and turn away? Or what do we do in this situation?
Yes. Absolutely. Find the stairs, wait for another elevator. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you obviously don't feel comfortable and I wouldn't worry necessarily about hurting that person's feelings or coming across rude. They have no idea if you've made that decision because you forgot something. You realize, I want to use the ladies' room before boarding. But I would not put yourself in an unsafe situation.
Susan Beckwith is our guest. It's our Mind Your Manners segment. It's elevator etiquette today. Susan, there's a famous episode of the television show The Office in which Dwight and Pam are stuck in an elevator together, and Dwight's initial reaction as the elevator is not moving is to establish a pee corner. Is that bad elevator etiquette to establish the pee corner?
Yes, and it's so funny because I didn't see that potentially coming up, but I thought you might bring up the scene from Liar, Liar.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, because that was also a question that Micah had. So I was like, yes, it is. A pee corner would not be good, and passing gas also is not good in that setting. So you just want to be really aware of those around you. No talking on your cell phone. Just really thinking about how you would want to be, as far like thinking about the space. How you would want others to be around you. Basically, that golden rule. Keeps coming up, doesn't it?
Is it proper to ask somebody who's standing next to the control board to press your button, your floor level, or do you need to do that yourself?
No, you can ask. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I demand Casey do that all the time. Hey, woman, hit that button for me.
Oh, goodness. I think this segment may need to end up being longer than just a few minutes, Rob,
hey,
to
woman.
respond to that comment.
I did my best, Mr. T. Hey, woman, hit that button for me. Hey, real quick, how close am I allowed to stand to the elevator before it opens? I like to stand right next to the door so people see my face as soon as that door pops open.
Well, the rule is, and this is probably the etiquette that I see most commonly not followed, and one that I wish people knew, is that those exiting go first. So if you are standing next to the exit because you're, planning to get off, that's fine. It's the ones that are waiting to board that need to stand back and be aware that you have the right of way.
All right, tell us about your fabulous website, Belle of the Midwest.
So right now, Belle of the Midwest is a great opportunity to get in touch with me, especially if you are interested in booking any sort of speaking engagement. This last Saturday was so much fun. I had the opportunity to join the Parks Department for a speaking event with their mother-daughter tea. You can also follow me on social media at Belle of the Midwest on Instagram as well as Facebook.
BELLE. Don't forget the extra E, belleofthemidwest.com. Susan Beckwith, you're the best. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
All right, and have a great weekend. That's going to do it for us. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. We're going to count on you to be back here on Monday with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today